This is the long-awaited return of Formula One. Today we bring back the horsepower, the noise, the battles and the rivalry, because it is time to go racing once again. Streaming around the world in IMAX cinemas across the USA, broadcasting directly to the Autodrome in Miami and live on Apple TV. This is Formula One. It's the Miami Grand Prix. It's round 4 of the World Championship in 2026. Our circuit runs to 3.3 miles. There's not much in way of elevation, but there are 57 laps on the board. The overtake detection point just before the heavy braking zone of turn 17, the last consequential corner on the racetrack. For teams and drivers, it's the soft, the medium and the hard. The C5, the C4 and the C3 tyres are available. We expect today to be a one-stop strategy if it stays dry. But will it stay dry with a track temperature of 35 degrees way down? It's going to change everything for the feel of the drivers behind the wheel. And here are the drivers for the 4th Grand Prix of the year. We'll go back to front, where we will find in the pit lane Isaac Hadjar. His car was outside of the technical regulations. Gabriel Bortoleto then is 21st and last on the grid. Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas begin life on home soil for Cadillac in Formula One. Next is Lance Stroll next to Fernando Alonso and all Aston Martin row. We move to Arvid Lindblad, who's not had the easiest of weekends. He's next to Alexander Albon. Williams driver is 15th. Next up, Grand Prix winner Esteban Ocon goes from 14th. He's next to Carlos Sainz, the lead Williams in the order. Oliver Behrman is the lead driver for Haas. Liam Lawson a long way ahead of his rookie teammate in 11th. To the top 10, Nico Hülkenberg promoted after the disqualification for Hadjar. Pierre Gasly is 9th for Alpine. He's not the lead Alpine, and that's unusual. A best ever Grand Prix qualifying result for Franco Colapinto. Piastri, winner of the Grand Prix here last year, P7. Then it's Lewis Hamilton next to George Russell, both behind their teammates, both searching for answers. Lando Norris's practice starts were excellent, as was Charles Leclerc. Are they the danger men from the second row? Back on the front row for the first time this season, Max Verstappen is the nearest challenger to our championship leader. And driver on pole position, 19-year-old Kimi Antonelli. Hello everyone, wherever you're watching us, you're very welcome to the broadcast. There are so many expectant fans around the circuit here. We began Formula One's journey in Miami in 2022. Last year, the best Grand Prix we've ever seen around this configuration. And with teams and drivers uncertain about what the weather will do, we should be in for a treat this afternoon. Lando Norris starts in 4th. In 3rd is Charles Leclerc. The front row is Max Verstappen and Kimi Antonelli. In the commentary box, I'm Alex Jakes, and I'm happy to say that I'm joined by our usual pairing to the right-hand side of me. 13-time Grand Prix winner David Coulthard. How are you this fine afternoon?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Alex. And I'm just checking in with the what's been accurate weather report, and it's suggesting that some light rain in 15 and, well, double drips coming out of a small cloud in 30, which would suggest to me a bit more than light rain.
Jolyon Palmer, track temperature has dropped, even if it does stay dry. How does that affect things behind the wheel?
Conditions are different regardless of the rain. Yeah, the track temperature is nearly 20 degrees down on yesterday, so that'll actually be a good thing for the tyres. And in a normal dry race, teams are expecting quite an easy one-stopper. Everyone starts on the mediums, but the grip level is going to be down as well. So because the rain, there was a huge downpour this morning, a very wet F2 race as well, will have washed away a lot of rubber, so they'll be finding a cool track, but a not very grippy track.
Yeah, and just to pick up on that, Julian, I spoke to Bono, who is the engineer to Kimi, and he said put more front wing in the car because of these cooler conditions.
Formula One is back. It's race day in America. This is the Miami Grand Prix, round 4 of the World Championship in 2026. Kimi Antonelli roaring off the line, looking for his first strong start of the season. This is usually the point where we tell you the variation in the tyres. Only Isaac Hadjar, who's starting from the pit lane, has gone away from the medium tyre.
Yeah, we know he's got pace to be in the top 10, so he's got to do something different to get there. So you add a bit of front wing on the cooler temperatures because you should have a bit better traction. You shouldn't be sliding around on the rear so much, so you take advantage of that better rear end by dialing in more downforce on the front end, and you've also got to probably protect that from a bit of graining as well in the cooler temps.
Yeah, that's one of the very few adjustments they can actually make once you go into a Parc Fermé after qualifying into the race. You've got the front wing adjust, other than that, it's the electronic tools at the discretion of the driver, of course, that he can make adjustments. But all focus right now is on the tyre prep for the launch. It's a short run to the first corner, but it's been troublesome for Kimi. It's been troublesome a little bit for Red Bull as well, but not for Ferrari. And they will be hoping to convert a good start, and, well, not impossible. They could be leading at the end of the first lap.
McLaren too have been making really good starts. Remember the Japanese Grand Prix, Oscar Piastri went from the second row and leapt into the lead. So it's really the pressure now mounting on those on the front row. And if you're Antonelli, you are so hoping you get one clean getaway and people will stop talking about him making bad starts from pole. But until you do that, it's always going to be a thing, and it just incentivizes the drivers behind.
So Kimi has the ability to lead the cars round to the grid, and what's interesting, he's just doing it very gently. He's not giving anyone the chance to really lean on the car, feel their car.
I think he's doing it gently out of necessity, because Red Bull have a card to play from the pit lane. Isaac Hadjar hasn't even caught the pack up yet, so they don't want him mired at the front of the field, thinking about the start that's looming over him.
Well, Hadjar can put a lap on his hard tyres and get a bit of temperature in those as well. So they left him really late, didn't they, to launch in. But Antonelli is going slowly. So you've got to get your battery in the right place still. You've got to make sure your tyres are in the right place and your brakes. It's 180 metres to the first corner, which is one of the shorter runs, but it is still quite a big stamp on the brakes when you get there. What's the grip like on the inside? The drivers don't know because they've been coming out of the pit lane, not doing that first corner on the reconnaissance lap. So there is plenty of unknowns for them to find in a few moments' time.
Yeah, 180 metres, 590 feet, depending on where you're watching us. And Kimi Antonelli knows this feeling. 3 Grand Prix pole positions in a row. Ayrton Senna did that. Michael Schumacher did that when they took their maiden poles. They followed it by 2 more. Jimmy Fallon is one of a whole host of celebrities that line this circuit. This is the first of 3 races in the US in 2026.
Well, we just saw the angle that Max Verstappen has positioned his car slightly pointing towards Kimi Antonelli. He's wanting to get off that dusty inside part of the track and just really bring some pressure to Kimi. If he looks in his mirrors, he'll be sensing that.
Final cars are crawling past our commentary box situated at the final corner. The car to the pit lane is Isaac Hadjar. He's had his formation lap. He's in position. The last car on the grid is Gabriel Bortoleto. Audi will be hoping for reliability. The front 4 dreaming of Grand Prix victory. Something that Lando Norris knows around this circuit, something that Max Verstappen knows around this circuit as well. Green flag at the back. It's time to battle for Grand Prix victory once again. We go racing in 5 lights time when the revs rise and they attack turn 1. The Miami Grand Prix is underway. Kimi Antonelli crawling off the line. Charles Leclerc is going through to the lead. No, Max Verstappen got it. Antonelli goes wide. Who's got the launch? It's Charles Leclerc.
Spinning.
It does spin. It's a spin for Max Verstappen. Can the pack avoid him? The Ferrari leads. Antonelli went wide. Max Verstappen spun, and Charles Leclerc takes the lead of the Grand Prix. What a dramatic getaway we've had here. It's Leclerc, then Antonelli, Norris, Piastri, and Russell, the top 5.
Yeah, well, we said it. Ferrari, they've continued that brilliant starting form, and Max fought it hard, but just on those colder tyres, Max spun it.
Max down to 10th position. There is the Ferrari checking out right now. We haven't had a dramatic opening lap like that for years.
Yeah, Hamilton's fallen down behind, I think, Pierre Gasly moving forward. It's exactly the same setup as last year, guys, when Lando Norris was forced wide. Only this time there's less grip for Max and loads more torque, so he lit it up, trying to turn it round.
Contact! Hamilton and Colapinto making contact into turn 11, and it's a melee behind right now as Verstappen drops 7 places. He's in 9th at the moment and trying to get past Liam Lawson.
Yeah, Liam Lawson, he's fighting his track position, fighting for his career, doesn't give any quarter to the sister team.
The 2 McLarens were deep into the first corner as well. Everyone was suckered in by those battling ahead. I'm amazed they've all come through unscathed.
Hamilton gets past Colapinto. Lewis Hamilton finds himself in 6th position. Verstappen trying to come back into the braking zone. Will there be room? That's laid on the brakes, might give an opportunity to Alex Albon, who's passed his teammate Carlos Sainz. And is he passed? This is aggressive side-by-side Formula One at its finest. A brawl to open the Miami Grand Prix. Lap 2 of 57, Leclerc, Antonelli, Norris, Piastri and Russell, the top 5. Verstappen stays ahead of this battle, he's in 9th.
Well, this has been a great opening lap. A lot of maturity, a little bit of contact from some of the cars, but it could have been a lot worse. And what a welcome back to Formula One racing we've just seen.
Well, there's not a lot of runoff there where Max had a full 360, and he's done that in front of the entire pack as well. So how they've all avoided him, that's probably shuffled the order, where you see Lawson moving up, Albon now up into the top 10 as well with that double pass. But when you've suddenly got a car pointing the wrong way right in front of you and you're side by side, must have been seriously hectic for those behind.
Hulkenberg has been in to change the front wing and going slowly out of design. Liam Lawson off the throttle there, letting Max Verstappen through. That is trying to avoid a penalty.
Yeah, he must have passed him through the chicane here, maybe on the last lap, or they were side by side, weren't they, with a bit of contact through the turn 11 sequence. So I wonder if it was somewhere around there. I don't think that's just Racing Bulls playing the game with Red Bull. It certainly didn't seem that the lap before.
No, and we've not seen that in the beginning of the year either. We've seen Lindblad go toe-to-toe. So, yeah, we'll need to see a replay as we see a little lock-up there from George Russell in the Mercedes.
Big chance now for George Russell, trying to improve. He's got a threat for what he expected to be a big chance for his maiden World Championship in the form of Kimi Antonelli. If he's going to win this Grand Prix today, he needs moves like that, and he moves up to 4th.
Yeah, it was Piastri's lock-up at the final turn, and he just understeered wide of the apex. That meant he got a poor exit, and Russell says, thanks very much, I'll have 4th place back. Piastri must have had a really rocket launch as well. 7th on the grid, and he was up there fighting with his teammate, 3rd and 4th. So he's just lost one of those places with a bit of a mistake, and Mercedes now can settle in 2nd and 4th, and we will see what their pace is.
Yeah, there's a lot of winners there. Albon being the best of those with a 5-place increase in position, putting him in the points right now.
The collision between Colapinto and Hamilton has been noted. That's for the collision at this turn 11. Good couple of laps of Kimi Antonelli, who regrouped. Verstappen and Antonelli crawled off the line. Big momentum for Charles Leclerc, who placed the car well, did the up and under move, and then Verstappen, when pinched, spun around. The pack did brilliantly to do the full avoiding action. Hulkenberg has changed the front wing. He is down 12 positions. A note for you for Isaac Hadjar. The Red Bull driver joined the race from the pit lane. He is in 17th, up 5.
So we've had a dress rehearsal, haven't we, of this? Yesterday in the sprint, Charles Leclerc was ahead of Kimi Antonelli for most of it, well, in fact, the entire thing, but it was like this for a lot of it. And Kimi sat there in the dirty air, slid around, started to overheat his rear tyres, and ended up dropping away from the Ferrari, who then went to go and chase the McLarens out front and showed good race pace. So how much is Leclerc once again just absorbing the pressure at this stage and keeping his tyres in check? Because they've got to go a reasonable distance to make this a one-stop.
Yeah, no, this is very telling, isn't it? After the excitement of the first few Grand Prix, where there was a lot of pass and repass, we saw in the sprint it was a much more sort of classic neutralised race with some good overtakes. So we've been curious to know what is the form book going to be like on this track, which it tends to lend itself more, especially in this section, lead and follow. There just isn't a natural place unless you've got a massive offset in deployment to overtake.
Loads of understeer on board Lando Norris coming through turn 8. You can see he has overtake enabled, so that's a little bit more energy for him to deploy around a lap. But it's not massively effective because the harvesting's not
Out
huge.
front, battle for the lead. Kimi Antonelli versus Charles Leclerc, and Leclerc hangs on to it. We could see on board with Lando that it was getting closer and closer and closer, and the Ferrari man stays out front, but there's a big charge coming. Sorry for interrupting you, Joe.
For good reason.
Thank you for interrupting me.
Well, I think you might need to interrupt him again as we get on to the long back straight. Saying that, Antonelli, big handful of oversteer, which would have affected a little bit his drive off of turn 16, but expect to see an overtake down into the hairpin.
Looking to be late on the brakes, on board with Kimi Antonelli. Gets to the inside, where's our Ferrari gone? We're to the apex first. Kimi Antonelli takes the lead, but can Charles Leclerc place the car well, like he did in the opening round of the year? Looking for the inside line, Antonelli, the new race leader, stays ahead.
Leclerc waved him through, in fact, at the final turn. They were playing sort of overtake line games, a little bit like the old DRS games. So now Leclerc will have that little bit more energy to use on this lap. Can he stay close enough in this phase of the lap?
Alex Albon to the inside on Liam Lawson. That's a battle for 9th place on the left-hand side of your screen, and Albon gets through.
Leclerc's close.
Lando, stay with them, be patient, let them yo-yo.
Doesn't look that patient, does he, as he's hustling the back of the Ferrari. Here we go.
Yeah, the difference between the CAM engineer sitting on a pit wall and a race driver starting to overheat. Heart rate probably sitting around 140 as here comes Leclerc on the outside.
Pass and repass for the lead of the Grand Prix. The Ferrari man back out front. Charles Leclerc, P1 in Miami.
So that's yo, and what does Norris do about it now as they come round?
So Antonelli unable to defend. How about Liam Lawson? He's got Gasly and Albon directly ahead, and Albon hangs on to 9th position. Lawson in 10th and Gasly in 11th on the left-hand side of your picture. Lovely launch out of turn 16 for Lando Norris.
Leclerc is brilliant at these energy management games as well. What does Antonelli do this time around? Does he try and slide one down the inside this time, or wait for a better, different opportunity? He's having to just defend Norris, I think, there with a look in the mirrors.
Max Verstappen's going to make a pass left-hand side, and he does get past Franco Colapinto. Oh, into the wall goes his teammate Isaac Hadjar, into the wall and out of the race.
Yeah, that's going to be full safety.
And here comes Norris, and he takes 2nd position. Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris going through. Colapinto gets past Verstappen behind as well. It's Charles Leclerc who leads the Grand Prix now from Lando Norris.
And Piastri's right with Russell as well in the back of shot here. Can he get through? There's a safety car about to be called.
Well, Gasly tumbles down as well. Lawson involved, and Hadjar is out. They've slowed down. We've not seen the graphic, but there is Pierre Gasly's Alpine. He's okay, that's the most important thing by far, but that will neutralize the race. We've not got the graphic at the moment, but the safety car is deployed. I can tell you the safety car is out right now. Most importantly, the drivers, although furious, are okay. Hadjar has reported he's all right, so is Pierre Gasly, and breathe around Miami International Autodrome.
God, the frustration is taking some time to come out of Hadjar as he now gets himself out of the race car. So we need to see the replay of exactly how that brought this safety car position. Good to see both drivers absolutely fine, but this might take a little while to clear up.
He might have bruised hands by the end of this, Hadjar. Those knuckles will need a check at the medical centre. I think he's been in there for about a minute, hasn't he? Just remonstrating with himself, out and furious. Gasly's ended up in the oddest of positions there as well. So must have tangled through the apex of the corner at the final turn.
Yeah.
Hadjar, it feels like Hadjar's in a different place.
Yeah.
It feels like Hadjar's in a different place to Gasly, so there's a lot for our replay team to sort out here at the moment.
Yeah, the graphic isn't actually showing the cars on our track map, so that is making it somewhat tricky to give us a fuller picture.
Gasly's at the final real corner of the racetrack, the hairpin at 17. I think Hadjar's at the 14-15 chicane, but that might not be the case. We'll clear it up.
So if they had, how have they've both gone off at the same time, but at different corners? Has there been damage somewhere on Gasly? Because that car is positioned extraordinary up on the barrier.
Looks like it's been launched, especially on the exit, in your sort of middle of the corner towards the exit.
I'm going to give you a guess. I reckon Lawson and Gasly have tangled, and I reckon Hadjar's had his own incident further, like earlier in the lap. So we'll see if that's right. No, it's a total,
all right, Inspector Morse.
It's a total guess. Max Verstappen's into the pit lane, but those are the names that tumbled down. So we'll see if it's correct. And we'll bring you the replay as soon as we can. First of all, Isaac Hadjar, 14-15. He's clipped the apex.
Yeah, broken the suspension on the apex. Yeah, that was just unfortunate and clumsy. You can see that tyre, the steering arm is gone. Well, that barrier doesn't move, so it's unfortunate for him. It's just a driver error.
And here we go to the inside. Oh, wow! Pierre Gasly flipped over. Very unusual moment. And we see Liam Lawson tangling with Pierre Gasly. And those incidents happening within about 30 seconds of each other. This was on board with the French driver who was trying to overtake Lawson. Lawson goes defensive, and you're about to see the result of it.
He's got a problem. He's got a problem. He's in anti-stall as it comes in. So I think he's had an issue there with the power unit. He's got no deceleration from the engine braking, and that's why he's just washed into Gasly, who's not expecting it.
Yeah, no, Gasly left enough room for a car, but as you say, You see the replay at the start. So Max manages to scrabble to keep it online, but it's at the point where he throttles up through the apex of 2, he loses the rear.
He was desperate to get there to the apex, wasn't he? So he's really hustling on that throttle. Then you've got a turn, you've got acceleration going on, you put a bit of lateral load through it, and it's just too much on the low grip at the start of this one. So it's so similar to last year, but this time there's less grip for him to try and bulldozer his way into 2.
On board with Kimi Antonelli, that's Charles Leclerc on the left-hand side. Oh, he nearly takes him out.
That was so close.
And then Leclerc survives again with millimetres between Verstappen and the Ferrari.
Wait till you get, I think, Norris is on board, because I think there was millimetres on the McLaren as well.
This is defensive, the move on Norris from Verstappen.
And the dusty inside line locks up, but keeps it inside track limits. But it's this point here, gets sort of squeezed, if you like, in a perfectly fair racing wheel-to-wheel with Leclerc.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, the rear tyres are already chattering as he's going, and then he starts to turn in, and it just spins around, breaks traction, and what a save. And everyone else just, oh, it's Gasly there. That's why Pierre lost a lot of ground at the start, because he gets really bulked in.
So this is what it feels like on board to have a monster launch, and he's just thinking happy days. And then look, opens the steering, he's got actually cars like displays either side, and manages to keep it on track.
It's actually superb from Leclerc, isn't it? Eyes everywhere, feeling the grip. You can see him also on the limit. This is the one here. Look at Norris. We've seen Mercedes close, Red Bull close, and I think Lando is about to rear end the back of the Ferrari as well.
So he had a good launch off the line, didn't have the space to take care of any of the momentum, and now can you avoid Max Verstappen? Yes.
How good was Max to spin, release the brakes, throttle up, spin the rear axle, and bring himself back round again?
It's one of his best skills. He does it all the time, DC. Every time he spins, he does the perfect pirouette and gets it back again.
This was Colapinto versus Hamilton, race control, no further investigation needed. They called it a racing incident.
Yeah, bit of damage to the Ferrari. And this is the going to be up close and personal with Max here and the Racing Bulls.
So that's up against Lawson.
And that's why Lawson then gave the place back, I think, because he went off the track. I don't think he needed to give the place back, to be honest, from where they were. And Max went off the road as well. Carlos Sainz then trying to get back into the top 10. This was in battle with Gasly, wasn't it?
So they both go deep into the corner, and then Albon's going to be through.
He pushed me off. He thinks he can do whatever he wants just because he's racing the midfield.
Yeah, sorry, that was Verstappen that he's talking about there. And
Yes,
then Gasly comes through after that. Oh, it's absolute melee, isn't it, in the midfield?
But yeah, Gasly, one-time Grand Prix winner, managing to get by. This is Isaac Hadjar, driver who's out of the race. But before he retired by clipping the apex wall, he put that move on, and he must be so frustrated because it's an unforced error, but he was making progress on those hard tyres as well. Seemed to have a much better balance with the cooler track temperature.
So as we see all that on-track action, and then you can see Hadjar just turns in way too early.
So he's making ground, making passes, started from the pit lane, and immediately goes into his boxing mode. But you know, when you make a couple of passes, starting from the back, you think, right, okay, eyes forward, let's go, next one. And it's just sort of too ambitious, just with the curb and the wall more than anything. But he's just in the headspace of, right, everything, let's move forward.
Yeah, it's been a challenging weekend for him, no question. He had, I think, a very good start to his relationship with Red Bull Racing, the first 3 Grand Prix, but he's found it a bit more challenging around here, and then compounds it with a DNF. So we're probably not going to be far away from them getting ready for a restart, and it's only Max Verstappen that has chosen to come in and take a set of tyres. He's now in 16.
Yeah, they did have the early data from the hard tyre of Isaac Hadjar, so they had initial data on there. So they've just rolled the dice to put strategic pressure on those out front.
I think he can probably do the race on that hard tyre. Of course, let's not forget there's rain in the air as well. So Max doesn't want any rain now if he's on the hard.
A bit info, we have a sail of rain 20 minutes away. We keep an eye on it. Sail of rain 20 minutes away.
We didn't know that was coming, by the way, and we didn't know how the crashes unfolded, to be honest, before we got the replay.
Absolutely. Well, my local radar, we don't know when that radio message was played, of course, but it's telling me 15 minutes to the first little cell of rain and 30 minutes to more significant rain.
So I think that's what everyone else is looking at, to not take the free pit stop or the cheap pit stop. Of course, Max had less to lose because he dropped back with that spin at the start. So it's a gamble for Red Bull that no one else fancied taking, to then be mired in the midfield, which is where Verstappen is. A pit stop in clear air is about 20 seconds. Under safety car, it's 11 if that were to come. But of course, the field's so bunched, it's the track position that you'd lose at this stage.
Yeah, as we said, he's down in 16th place. A bunch of cars ahead that he should have little difficulty getting past. And Stroll, Bortoleto, Perez, Lindblad is probably where it starts to get a little bit more tricky.
He's cleared a lot of them already, hasn't he, after that start, and managed to come through. So just hoping that he can come through quickly before any rain does fall, if it falls. And if it doesn't, if it somehow misses us, then everyone's got to take a full 20-second pit stop, assuming there's no more safety cars.
Well, they say fortune favours the brave, and that's clearly what Red Bull aiming for victory rather than just trying to build points.
We're behind the safety car on lap 10 of 57 here at Miami International Autodrome. First race held here in 2022. Last year's was the best. We'll call that the best so far, because it has been very dramatic to start things off in 2026.
Oscar, there's a possible short shower on lap 25. That could be heavy, but not long duration.
Engineers covering all the bases there. Possible short, heavy.
You know what that means to me if I'm driving? I'm thinking this is a stay out on slicks jobby, isn't it? You don't pit for a short duration heavy. You just somehow keep it on the road on what will be quite worn medium tyres at that stage for Oscar. That is the hardest skill for a racing driver to have to do.
Let's bring in Ruth Buscombe, our strategist, for an overview on the decision taken by Max Verstappen and Red Bull. Ruth.
Love it, great. Those tyres can get to the end of the race. He did 45 laps back in 2023 to win on a reverse strategy. Taking that cheap stop makes sense. Little to lose, lots to gain. He can now lean on that tyre and go through the field. The question mark is if that rain will come. If it comes in the medium window around 25, he'll lose out. But if it comes later, he could even gain by going further into the race.
Thank you, Ruth. We're behind the safety car on lap 10 of 57. Charles Leclerc, taking the lead of the race, was nearly taken out twice in the opening two corners. But by the time he got to turn 5, he had the lead and he built a gap. Lando Norris got past Kimi Antonelli. Antonelli led the race at one point. We have 4 retirements. Nico Hülkenberg, Liam Lawson making contact with Pierre Gasly, Isaac Hadjar clipping the apex wall at turn 14, undoing what was an entertaining cameo of multiple passes. And we've had the marshals recovering the cars, which is why we've had this extended safety car period. The notable decision made, Max Verstappen coming in, getting rid of medium tyres and shifting to the hards.
We barely covered it, but how important was that pass for Norris as well just before the safety car came out? It was just the one straight before. So in the timing of yo-yo racing, when you have a safety car, that is a hard reset on the yo-yo coming back to the hand, isn't it? And it's come back to the hand with Norris now in second place, the sprint race winner, has good race pace, McLaren with upgrades on the car, and with the safety car ending now, they'll be able to all recharge the batteries, and so Norris can be having a look at chasing and fighting with Charles Leclerc out front.
Yeah, look, I think that's a good reminder that even if you think a safety car is coming, you've got to keep pushing until that point, and that information comes on your dash. It was quite a slow reaction to the information coming out, especially with 2 cars clearly needing to be recovered, but we'll get into that in the post-race analysis.
Yeah, it was Piastri and Russell that were then side by side and nose to tail for a while. If Piastri had just made it through and then you get the safety car, I'm sure Mercedes would be screaming, why was it not called earlier? Because it was obviously going to come, but it didn't make any difference in that part. Russell now lining up behind his teammates, 1st and 5th on the grid, 3rd and 4th on the track.
The restart is coming your way once we make our way through the back straight, round the hairpin at turn 17, and then you can overtake, but only when you cross the start-finish line. As the rules for the drivers ahead, they'll be trying to get the battery charged to deploy the energy when required. Charles Leclerc leads from Lando Norris. Then you have Kimi Antonelli ahead of his teammate George Russell. Oscar Piastri is in 5th. Then it's Hamilton and Colapinto. Remember what we saw from them on the opening lap. And then the Williams pairing, of Alex Albon ahead of Carlos Sainz, Oliver Behrman ahead of Esteban Ocon. Over to Charles Leclerc to dictate the pace. He has to let the safety car go back to the pit lane when we go back to full-speed racing in the jurisdiction of the Ferrari man.
I tell you what, Norris is sniffing his exhaust pipe, not giving him any chance to sort of bolt early.
This is so slow, and now he goes, Leclerc.
He launches back to full-speed racing. The green flag flies once again at Miami International, and it's a good restart for Charles Leclerc in the opening meters. He uses the straight mode and the rotisserie rear wing. It's Leclerc, then it's Norris, and to the inside is George Russell staying ahead for the moment. Piastri, does he have the room? Piastri carves on by, and he reacted quickest to the restart. George Russell has struggled on restarts we've seen before earlier this year. Now Lewis Hamilton trying to inflict more punishment. He's not able to do so. Piastri back to fourth.
That was kind from Russell, I think, to allow Piastri through. I mean, that move shouldn't have been possible the way that they were lining up, but he just gave Oscar the space and he had the drive on the exit, and it's another miserable safety car restart then for George Russell. But I am amazed that he was just allowing the McLaren through. He could have shut the door earlier. He would have been entitled to do that.
Yeah, it's just all out of sorts here on this racetrack. It has not been a happy hunting ground for him.
Max Verstappen in 15th position. Gabriel Bortoleto is the next car ahead of him. Sergio Perez gets up to 12th position. He's passed David Lindblad.
That was for the fire Russell.
Yeah, copy, we saw.
Verstappen very close to the back of the Audi through 14 and 15. Main frame, Charles Leclerc out front by 7/10 of a second, by 5/10 of a second. How close can Norris get? Enough to just shape for a move, just trying to make himself large in the Ferrari's mirrors. Winner of the sprint race yesterday in Grand Prix qualifying, McLaren fell back. The Ferrari is updated, the McLaren is updated. Norris has won a Grand Prix around here before. Last year, he could not get past the race leader in a wheel-to-wheel battle, and his teammate was able to get through and build a gap.
Looks like Mercedes hasn't been quite as good at switching back on those medium tyres. No panic for Antonelli in that he can watch what's going on up front, but it looks like that time behind the safety cars cost him a little bit of performance.
Verstappen passes Perez into turn one. The McLaren front end looks really good. Norris is able to hustle in on the entries, get to an apex, straighten off the exits, and it means he's very close to Charles Leclerc here.
It's a big opportunity for Lando Norris. He won his first Grand Prix around this circuit in 2024. It's nearly time for another race leader, and his name is Lando Norris. McLaren versus Ferrari versus Mercedes, and now it's Norris's turn to head the field.
Yeah, and as he battled it out on the brakes, that's allowed Antonelli to come into run onto the back of the car of the Ferrari.
I'm in the wrong sat mode, guys. Keep an eye out.
Did you see the bit of debris on the track as well at the chicane? So someone's lost a little winglet.
And Charles Leclerc hit that debris. It was the Ferrari that made contact with the carbon fibre. Kimi Antonelli trying to make a move on Charles Leclerc once again, this time for second place. Trying to make it late on the brakes. The Mercedes to the apex first. And Kimi Antonelli, the championship leader, is back up to second. Charles Leclerc hustling, trying to find a way back through, looking to make that immediate pass. Silver Arrow versus Scarlet Ferrari, and Charles Leclerc is back up to second.
It's allowed Lando to just build a bit of a gap out front though, so that'll be a reprieve for Norris, who would have used a good amount of energy on the last lap to clear the Ferrari. But they have to worry about two people, don't they? So you have, if you want to go all out attack and it doesn't work, you're going to lose 2 places with the way that they're bunching up. That bit of a reprieve, 1.2 seconds now, is the best thing for Norris, because he's got Leclerc more than a second away, and if he can just manage to get that battery topped up, get into a decent window here, then this could be his chance to see what the pace of the McLaren is. And I think it looks pretty good, guys. The way that Piastri was able to clear Russell, he was already chasing Russell before the safety car. Here comes Antonelli.
Antonelli diving to the inside at turn 11. Slightly wide. Is there a chance for Leclerc to go around the outside at 12? It gets single file very quickly. And the Mercedes man is ahead. Kimi Antonelli, 19 years of age, the youngest ever Formula One World Championship leader, back up to second.
There's no grip around the outside of that long right-hander. No one will rubber that in all weekend long, and Charles knew that rather than try it. This is the better opportunity then, with a long straight. I think it's closing early enough, though.
He'll be positioned, though, for the run down into turn one. I think it's all going to happen a bit too late, yeah, into the braking zone for the final corner.
But that swap of position still helps Norris out front, who gets towards 1.5 seconds now clear of these two. Can Leclerc get back towards Antonelli? In terms of actual race pace, they're all very, very similar. And that's why a little mistake here, a bit of energy management that can give you an advantage elsewhere, can make all the difference. Suddenly, Leclerc sliding a little bit, coming through turn 3 that time. They've also got to be careful of overheating the rear tyres when they're fighting this hard.
Yeah, they're getting close to sprint race distance, but of course they've got more fuel on board, and we're on what we refer to as a green track, a track that's had rain, had some of the rubber taken away. There was some support racing earlier as we saw Leclerc sliding the car. And, well, this is allowing Norris to break away a bit.
It's all good news for Verstappen as well, who is 12 seconds off the race lead. So if everyone, well, they all have to pit ahead of him. And when they do, currently, Max will be the race leader without having to pit. So it's worth keeping an eye on him and the clouds ahead, which are getting a little darker. And we're expecting that rain to fall soon.
Yeah, on the menu for you in the next couple of laps. The others getting to the end of their medium tyres and coming in to make the mandatory swap to another compound. There is no mandatory pit stop rule in Formula 1, but you must use 2 compounds in a dry race. We're expecting that to be medium hard across the course of the day. Also, the weather was predicted. We heard on the radio lap 25, or on lap 15 of 57.
But it's looking to me, just getting this updated and pinpointed right here on Miami Gardens, the rain likelihood is disappearing.
There's a late lunge. If you're Max Verstappen, I think he cleared Oliver Behrman into the braking zone of turn 17. He did, and he moves up to 10th position. Verstappen's confidence on the brakes, looking like the Verstappen of last year when he won the final 3 Grand Prix in a row, and he was on the podium 10 times in a row to close out the year. Yellow flag momentarily waving around the circuit, now withdrawn.
Verstappen knows he cannot afford to mess around and waste a lap or even a sector fighting with the Haas guys, Lindblad. He's got the Williams duo up next, who are both running in the top 9 still. He needs to side his way through because he's still in contention here when this shakes out. If that rain doesn't fall, you're pretty worn, hard tyres by the end of this, but they should be able to go to the end still. And he's taken that pit stop.
Verstappen is in the left-hand side of your picture. You also have the nature of drivers like Colapinto, Sainz and Albon, who are thinking about their race. Alex Albon's not scored points since September last year in the Italian Grand Prix. He will be desperate to get back into the top 10. Carlos Sainz will be desperate to stay ahead, and Colapinto is having a great all-round weekend. He's the last Alpine. They have no interest in fighting Max Verstappen at all, who is still a contender for the major places in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, look, this would be a major result for Williams right now, given the start to the season. So, as we see there, the Verstappen incident, we'll see if there's any action taken on that.
Crossing the white line on pit exit, so he was under safety car. He was probably racing someone to the safety car line. Whoa!
Whoa! From miles back, Max Verstappen. Oh, too far back, and Alex Albon doesn't give him the room. His former teammate shown to the extremity of the white line, and Albon continuing on. Sainz is the lead. Williams here. There's the move to turn 1, and Verstappen just carving his way through, and that continues.
Yeah, well, look, that was some brilliant defensive driving there from Albon, but in the end, the inevitable happens, and all that's happened is it's just given a bit of breathing space to Sainz.
He'll be in the same place probably this lap, though, won't he? Max is in no mood to wait around. Piastri past Leclerc.
He's through. The McLaren driver is through. But for how much longer? Piastri deploying the energy, and Charles Leclerc, who hasn't won a Grand Prix since the USA in 24 when we raced in Austin, Texas, says no more, but look, he's lost a huge amount of time. He's 4 seconds off the back of Antonelli.
He's had an issue, and suddenly, I don't know, he found a different mode or something, so Piastri's just blasted past. Then Charles has managed to get it sorted and get back through, but he was close to Antonelli, and now he's 3 seconds back, so something has gone awry for Charles Leclerc on that lap, and it's brought Piastri back into play for a podium.
For the moment, it becomes a 2-horse race for victory, and it becomes a multiple car battle now for the final step on the podium. Lando Norris trying to win his first Grand Prix today since Brazil last year. Antonelli trying to do a hat-trick of consecutive Grand Prix wins. In 3 in a row. He's never failed to convert a Grand Prix pole, won the last 2. Today was his 3rd, and he's been up and down the order in 2nd with breathing room, crucially, at the moment for the first time in the Grand Prix. Leclerc trying to win for the first time since Austin in 2024. Left-hand side of your picture was the side of Max Verstappen getting another place. He's up to 8th past Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, looking at the times, Leclerc must have had an issue in the first sector. Could he drop to full 2.5 there? There was a little bit of time loss in the middle, which I assume was battling as we go on board with Max Verstappen.
Now, this is the Albon move from so far back.
That was from downtown Miami.
That's not allowed.
Yeah, you can see Max going straight. That's his left thumb going for the radio there. So as soon as it's happened, he's on. You knew that was coming, but he didn't wait around, did he? And made it back through on the next lap. Oh, so that's Leclerc then. That's what happened to Leclerc. He's almost put it in the barrier. Piastri then comes through. So Leclerc's chasing Antonelli and trying to get the exit off turn 8. Has a lurid oversteer on board. That will look pretty snappy towards the barrier. But then he's managed to just have more deployment and come back through.
Wide earlier in the weekend in turn 8. He struggled to rotate the car through 7 and 8 across the course of a weekend that has been up and down for Ferrari, but that was a crucial move to get back ahead of Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris leads this Grand Prix firmly in the balance, 2.6 seconds his advantage.
Now we know Leclerc has pace in that Ferrari. He was just trying to get closer to Antonelli.
And we expect a shower in 2 to 3 laps, and we want to survive it, potentially coming first on sector 2, sector 2.
I think we're going to get the conditions where the rain comes down and the drivers have to show us all of their exquisite skill behind the wheel on slick tyres on a wet track.
Yeah, survive it on slicks rather than just, there's a shower coming, please don't crash. It's please stay out on these tyres if you possibly can. And again, that is going to be so challenging for everyone. And they're looking for the last 10th of a second here. As soon as you start to get some rain down and you're on slicks, you could be finding a second of performance at least around the lap.
Talking of finding performance, Lando Norris getting the hammer down. He was 0.2 of a second faster than Kimi Antonelli on the last lap. Antonelli now responding on this lap, ebbing and flowing at a 3-second margin.
Was there a drop or two on the last camera lens?
It's definitely getting darker outside of our commentary box window.
And I'm definitely going to stop looking at my radar on my phone because it's saying no rain predicted right now.
We're going to get you another wrap. It's fine. Norris, Antonelli, Leclerc, Piastri, Russell the top 5. Hamilton ahead of Colapinto. Bortoleto very close with Arvid Lindblad. That's very close for the drivers making their way through turn 12, battling for 13th position. And Bortoleto's ahead. Young British driver 0.4 of a second behind now, back out front in the podium battle. You can see those tyres being worn away. Bottom left of your picture, beginning to see a little bit of wear on the rear tyres of the Ferrari.
It's half a second slower on the last lap than Norris out front. Norris is doing a really good job, actually 0.3 quicker than Antonelli as well. So having made his way to the front, he's just starting to show the pace of the McLaren, that upgraded McLaren that has been working so well all the way through this weekend.
Well, that investigation for Verstappen will happen after the race, as we see declared there. Meanwhile, he is within a second of Colapinto.
That's my pet hate, that is.
Yeah.
Investigate something that you can just surely see as black and white after the race. We'll see what he does first and then see if he gets a penalty, shall we?
I guess, exactly, I guess they must feel there might be some mitigating circumstances. We've not seen it, of course. Maybe the opportunity in a lull in the race to get a replay, but meanwhile he continues his march forward, still only 15 seconds behind Norris, the race leader.
Yes, still in the mix, Max Verstappen. He's been on those hard tyres for 13 laps now. So that was a decisive move early on under the safety car to go for the cheap pit stop and to go for the new rubber for the driver who spun at the opening turns of the Grand Prix.
So his last lap was similar pace to Antonelli. It was 0.3 slower than Norris, but you can see on the left-hand side he's now stuck in behind Colapinto, and every time he's following one of these slower cars, he is seeping more time, so it could be a second this lap, and that's why an 11-second gap has gone to 16 seconds. Still, he's in contention here, but remember, he's going to be on those really, really worn hard tyres at the end of this race, and Norris will be on fresher ones once he pits.
Well, Colapinto having a great weekend in 7th, about to drop to 8th. It was interesting to see how hard he defends.
Colapinto opens the door. He's looking for big points. He's looking for a great Grand Prix result. Yesterday was his personal best in Grand Prix qualifying, and he knows that he doesn't want to lose any time fighting Max Verstappen. Into the pits and changing tyres, George Russell, as it gets darker, still out of the commentary box window.
Well, maybe Mercedes have the same radar that I do, because you would not pit him now if you think there's going to be a little bit of rain coming within the next couple of laps.
This is Russell with a chance to get back towards these two. So are they on your app, I think, DC? They are absolutely sure that it's not going to rain. Otherwise, that's a real nightmare call for Russell. But this is now crunch time. Out-lap critical for Russell. This has got to be in-lap critical for Leclerc and Piastri, unless they're on a different weather forecast, in which case they'll stay out. Surveying the scene, what are you seeing there, weatherman?
Well, I don't want to lose faith in my app, and I'm looking at that. Looks like it's grey, but you don't see those dark sort of cells that we had earlier in the day.
I think they've lifted the clouds slightly, haven't they?
On the replay, I'm informed by those who have seen one that Max Verstappen doesn't obviously cross the line at the bottom. So whether there's a positional issue of where he came out, there's a line that comes across the track that decides the order when you're peeling back out of the pit lane. Into the pit lane comes the Ferrari man, and Leclerc comes into the pits. Piastri promoted to third, and where will George Russell shake out? The undercut isn't particularly powerful here, but you do get the fresher rubber if you come in earlier.
Big stop for Ferrari. This is third place in play, and that's a slow on the front right.
They got the best pit stop so far this year at 2 seconds. That was 3.7 when it counts. And wait for the silver Mercedes that's going by, that's going through, and it was a really difficult restart for George Russell, but he's going to power by, and that slow stop has cost Charles Leclerc. One-time race leader, now tumbling down the order.
Yeah, and that is an absolute display of the importance of teamwork. In this digital world, one of the most analog moments, the pit stop, can make the difference between winning, losing, and as you see there, track position advantage Mercedes and Russell.
Yeah, they would have calculated that as a clean pit stops gets us out in front of Russell, but an extra second lost, and that's the difference. So a podium is gone, and Piastri stays out as well. So Oscar waiting for a better tyre advantage later on.
That's Russell clearing Esteban Ocon. Ocon yet to stop. Russell has taken on new rubber. He's on the hard tyres. He's past the Ferrari. He's past the Haas. Crucially for his race, he's back ahead of Charles Leclerc.
Why did we stop? What is the rate?
Charles Leclerc asking the question. If it comes down heavily and forces everyone into driver changes, they've lost 20 seconds from their race time, totally unnecessarily.
Yeah, well, they either didn't have an answer or they just chose not to broadcast it to us, but the frustration clear for Leclerc.
And then Russell is 12 seconds behind Verstappen. So when we're saying there's a battle for a podium, it might not be unless they can go and catch Max, who stays out and, again, doesn't need to pit. So Red Bull having a good look at the weather for their one man left in the race. And if that rain doesn't fall, Max is in still a decent position.
That looks nothing like yours, DC.
No, they've probably got the upgraded app. I'm Scottish after all, I didn't spend the extra money.
David Coulthard, Jolyon Palmer in commentary with me, Alex Jakes. Wherever you're watching this one, great to have your company. Here's another pass for George Russell. He's getting past Ollie Behrman into the fast sweepers that begin the lap. Behrman yet to stop, he's on old medium tyres. Russell with a superb Mercedes on a hard tyre goes through.
So possible rain in the next couple of laps should affect turns 7 and 8 first. Could get heavy.
Two drivers next to me are smiling at the engineer's call. Tell us why, gentlemen.
I spoke to the teams earlier on. I spoke to Alpine. They said there's going to be an absolute deluge as the lights went out. And then I went down and spoke to someone at Ferrari. They said, no, we think it'll be a dry race. And this is exactly what's playing out. But they're having to make crucial strategy calls that will affect the outcome on the fly. McLaren is staying out, waiting for that rain. Ferrari obviously suddenly think it's not coming. Mercedes maybe never did.
Well, traditionally, what happens is you send someone that's follically challenged upwind.
Next time you take the decision, please speak with me. I'm here as well.
I can tell you, he did not get a reply. So there was no answer offered. We would have broadcast it to you if there was. There was no answer offered. And he's deep.
Gone wide.
He's deep into the hairpin. He's losing more time. A frustrated figure right now, Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, so just to expand on what I was saying there before we got that radio message, it's traditional to have some member of the team be upwind just in case your local radar isn't giving you exactly the information that you need. So it worked well in the past historically. Teams like Jordan have got race victories out of doing that simple task rather than relying on what you can see on the pit wall.
The world's most advanced sport, all of this prototype technology, and sometimes you've got to stand someone on a hill nearby. It's the glorious thing about sport at this level on a changeable day of conditions. We are heading to lap 25 next, when the rain was predicted by McLaren to arrive. They've left both cars out as well. And the Williams of Alex Albon has not stopped. He's trying to get out of the way of George Russell because he doesn't want to lose any time. Russell goes through on those new hard tyres.
Yeah, Russell sat behind him for quite a while, actually, and now Leclerc's scooped into the back of the Williams as well and should clear him on the next corner. Well, the next straight coming up just after this chicane and turn 16.
Yeah, the best thing, well, it'll happen anyway. Leclerc will be able to slipstream past very easily on the Williams, but it's about seeing the big picture. If you're a midfield runner, you're looking at total race distance. You're fighting over a piece of tarmac with a car that's much faster. It's just going to add race time.
Yeah, those Haas cars behind Ollie Behrman and Esteban Ocon have been pretty quick so far this year. No upgrades on them, and Williams have had plenty. Has managed to get them towards and into the midfield, really. An impressive upgrade package from a low start point this year, and Albon senses there's points, and up the road is Carlos Sainz as well, just a couple of seconds ahead. So you're completely right, their battle is with Haas today, and needless to say, not Ferrari and Mercedes.
Charles Leclerc in 9th position at the moment, not too far away from George Russell, but crucially behind George Russell after that critical pit stop went in favour of Mercedes. 3.7 seconds, leaving 1.7 seconds on the table to their best so far this season. Russell using a lot of the road, really rotating the car through turn 8, trying to break clear of the Ferrari.
Yeah, that is Hamilton ahead, and Verstappen's just took about 9/10 of a second out of on the last lap. Those fresher hard tyres working for the Red Bull. So Hamilton, well, again, will he look to be defensive, or will he look at the gap to Piastri ahead and look big picture?
Hamilton was 1 second slower than Norris on the last lap, so Ferrari not actually having the race pace so far, but this could be a harder car to pass as well for Verstappen, who is still in a great position in this race if the rain doesn't materialise. Antonelli's slowly closing in on Norris as well. He's been putting in a string of laps 2-3 tenths quicker than the race leader, so that's still very much up for grabs.
On board with the 4-time world champion Max Verstappen, chasing the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. Few drops of rain, light rain on the onboard camera when we joined Verstappen. It is now getting brighter again outside of our commentary box window. We're situated at the 19th turn of this circuit that runs to 3.3 miles in length.
Is that in the distance? Does that look like a little bit of light rainfall?
It does indeed, but will it hit? Some strategists in the pit lane now believe that it will miss the circuit and will get those out front having to make a stop. Verstappen going aggressive with his early stop. He's been on the hard tyres for 19 laps now.
We are hearing that little bits of rain have been reported 11, 12, 13.
That's here, that's where they're approaching as Verstappen comes to the inside.
Not given the chance. Lewis Hamilton taking the racing line, staying ahead. Max Verstappen with the pace, with the grip, but not with the opportunity to get by at the moment.
Yeah.
George Russell has passed Carlos Sainz, he's up to 7th.
Yeah, but he knows he needs to get a move on with Hamilton. He was at 16 seconds stable to the race leader Norris. It's now dropped to 17 seconds, so he doesn't want to drop outside of that pit stop window.
Yeah, he's losing time all the while. Hamilton's fighting him. These guys had a big fight as well yesterday, didn't they? Verstappen's not afraid to lunge it.
And he's going to the inside. Max Verstappen getting past Lewis Hamilton. And he makes the move to increase his position to 4th. Antonelli into the pits with a 2.2 second stop. And McLaren are staying out with that long opening stint. Verstappen finds himself up to 3rd, then Hamilton in 4th. And let's see where Antonelli comes out. Antonelli finds himself behind Verstappen then, with the fresher rubber, but we've work to do to catch up the 4-time champ.
Yeah, he's a fair way behind Verstappen, isn't he? So Hamilton in between, Antonelli weaving because there's still light rain around and these hard tyres won't fire up particularly quickly. What does Norris do? Piastri's been going pretty slowly the last few laps. He's dropping a second a lap at best, so he's obviously struggling with the moisture out there. What about his teammate, who's still driving pretty neatly out front, but has to surely cover off Antonelli? they've got to disregard the weather forecast, I think, and just cover off those in front of them, surely.
Yeah, this late in the race with the tyres, you've got to run your knowledge of the track conditions. And weather forecast, it's been suggested, but it hasn't come.
So that means Verstappen is your net race leader, guys. 30 laps to go, Verstappen will be the net race leader, where Norris will pit, then Piastri will pit, and Max will be on those shod hards, but can go to the end, and he's not an easy driver to pass.
Look at Lando Norris squirming all over the road as he takes the last from his medium Pirellis. You must change to 2 sets of tyre compounds as per the rules. Big stop for McLaren. A great opening stint of the Grand Prix for Lando Norris. The world champion rejuvenated this weekend. Lewis Hamilton called in as well. And Antonelli is tearing into Verstappen's advantage. Here is Hamilton in the Ferrari coming in. Piastri has yet to stop. He continues on. Antonelli all over the back of Lando Norris, left-hand side of your picture. Antonelli versus Norris. This could be big. It's huge for Kimi Antonelli, and he gets past Lando Norris on the exit of the corner. The Italian driver now has to close down 1 second. He's been roaring into the advantage of Max Verstappen, who's the car out front.
Hats off to Mercedes. They've called both of their drivers' stops perfectly. Russell through past Leclerc. Antonelli past Norris. What can Lando come back with? And all the while, Max Verstappen is now just in front.
Hamilton's pitted. Oscar, we're going to pit and cover him. Use the pace now. Use the pace.
Well, if there's pace in hand, Lando Norris has got to show us. Does Oscar Piastri have anything? Verstappen with the advantage out front with the old tyres. Antonelli with a big, big move past Lando Norris, and Norris will want to claim it back. Different teams, different drivers, Grand Prix victory on the line.
I feel like this is it now. Verstappen's clearly struggling. Those hard tyres have been put to work, clearing all of the midfield, and now the fresher tyres are on. He's surely not going to be able to cover off Antonelli and Norris for too long, but can Norris pass the Mercedes once again? This is the race-winning move right here.
Yeah, Norris knows this could well be his opportunity, as Antonelli is neutralised slightly behind Verstappen.
Piastri comes into the pits. This is now for the lead. Here we go with Lando Norris, trying to take back the place that he lost in these corners before. Antonelli stays ahead. Can Norris get by? Verstappen has the advantage, and the early stop has given him the lead, but it's these two who are the danger for victory. The silver Mercedes and the orange McLaren. Antonelli versus Norris for the win, but it's the advantage for Max Verstappen.
And oh, Antonelli's in a tight spot, isn't he? Verstappen slower but ahead, so difficult to pass. You've got Norris now just nipping at your heels, trying to take that position back that could be so critical. They're on the long straight. Has Antonelli got something to offer?
Yeah, look, he'll dump his energy to try and get a pass done on the outside, on the brakes.
He's got it. Kimi Antonelli takes the lead. Max Verstappen loses 1 place. Hangs on to second for the moment. Antonelli needs to give it everything in the next couple of corners to try and build a gap.
Great place to pass, though, because Verstappen is slow through these corners and Norris cannot follow through just yet. So can Lando now clear Max on this run and go herring after the Mercedes? But that was a critical, clean pass at the first time of asking for Antonelli.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Read his opportunity well. Here will come Lando Norris.
Norris will climb to second place. Verstappen getting that race lead from a very, very early strategy. Second place for a couple of meters, then I'll take it back. Then Norris will go back through, pass and repass once again. But it's Norris with the grip, Norris with the place, and it's Antonelli versus Norris for the win.
Well, before long, it would be shades of last year again, wouldn't it? Piastri through with a clean pass that Norris took a little bit longer to do. But this time, Verstappen could not get his elbows out wide enough to prevent Norris sweeping straight past.
This is Charles Leclerc trying to take back the place that he lost in the sequence of stops. The Ferrari driver in 6th position at the moment. Colapinto has yet to stop. That's why he's in 4th position in the Alpine, having his best ever run in a Formula 1 Grand Prix right now. The Argentine driver with an enormous amount of support around this circuit.
Leclerc actively recharging down towards turn 4. He was so close to Russell. Russell wouldn't know that he was going to do that, so had to deploy a bit more. This should give Charles a pretty good run down towards 11 as well now. Be able to use what he's just saved on the battery.
George Russell in the Mercedes, Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Here's a replay of Oscar Piastri's pit stop. Piastri's behind both of these. and slow on the front right. Valtteri Bottas has been given a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Driver currently circulating in 18th place.
Antonelli used all of that battling between Norris and Verstappen to pull a full second on the last lap on Norris, 2 seconds on Verstappen, so that gives him a bit of a breathing space.
I think if you're Norris, you're going to be pretty miffed at this stage, aren't you? Controlling the race, clean passes early on, just there's nothing worse than being undercut. You've done nothing wrong from the cockpit. In fact, the pit crew did a great job. It was a clean stop for McLaren. They just pulled the trigger too late, and it's a simple slam-dunk undercut for Antonelli. He had to still execute it on track.
Here's the Ferrari going through. Charles Leclerc gets back past George Russell. That one's been coming for a couple of laps. And Charles Leclerc will try and chase down those ahead. The one-time race leader regaining a place. He's up to 5th, with Colapinto still to stop.
Yeah, up to 5th, Colapinto ahead, who is yet to stop as well. So it feels that Alpine have maybe been rolling the dice of hang on there for the possible rain, possible intermediates, but it's not coming so far.
They're a bit of no man's land in terms of pace as well this weekend, aren't they? A good weekend, clear of the midfield, away from the front runners. So they've got a bit of a luxury of being able to stay out. If Colapinto pitted now, he'd still be ahead of Ocon, who hasn't pitted either, so he's got a good margin. Russell just ran out of juice, didn't he, on the start straight? Leclerc, I think, was surprised how he was suddenly clearing him.
These two battling will bring Piastri back into the mix. He has the fastest lap of the Grand Prix at the moment. He's 2 seconds back. Leclerc versus Russell. Russell using a lot of the road as he makes his way through the fiddly chicane, which is usually a very good indicator where the balance of the car is. There is Piastri. 3rd place in the World Championship last year. First time he'd contended for a title. Finished 13 points back. And the eventual winner, Lando Norris, who is getting very close to the magical 1 second window, getting access to overtake mode, which is detected just before this corner.
Yeah, Norris not sort of resigning himself to that, understandably, in 2nd place. He's working into the window on Antonelli. Antonelli, as has been pretty much the form this weekend, slightly quicker in the 1st sector, and then it's pretty nip and tuck between the two of them in 2nd and 3rd sectors.
Verstappen still 3rd, 8 seconds clear of Leclerc, but Leclerc should close in on that, and Max doesn't seem to have much left in those hards, so surely Red Bull are going to be looking towards a 2nd pit stop and a late bit of rain or something now, another safety car to bring Max back into play there, because I imagine that'll be a nice target for Leclerc and Russell and Piastri to go and chase him down.
And I'm confident going to say there's no rain coming in the remainder of this Grand Prix.
Well, prepare your poncho or umbrella if you're watching in the crowd. After that from David Coulthard. It's right in the mix for Grand Prix victory. The ebb and flow of this race that started with a spin for Verstappen on the opening lap, then an early pit stop and a charge all the way through to the race lead. He's been passed by Antonelli and Norris. He's 4 seconds off the back of the driver you're looking at right now, the reigning world champion. Now Leclerc, also a race leader in this one, a long way back, and berating the team on the radio about the strategy that they followed, the fact he wasn't consulted. And Oscar Piastri is immediately on the tail of George Russell, who has openly admitted this is not one of his favourite circuits on the calendar. To compound it, Kimi Antonelli absolutely loves this place.
Yeah, Russell wide at the final turn there as well. It's been a little bit of white flag waving this weekend, hasn't it, from George? In wheel-to-wheel battle as well, he doesn't seem like a tiger that you'd expect a championship contender to be, especially with his nearest rivals and his teammates sometimes. Yesterday he was twice ahead of Kimi, led him back through.
Absolutely, and I love that expression, white flag waving. I suddenly looked up at the screen because I was looking down at some data and I thought there was a white flag waving on the track. But you're right, to be so vocal on, yeah, this is not a good track for me and I'm not expecting too much. Sometimes you don't want to share everything with everybody.
That's before qualifying he said that. I know it was sprint qualifying and the sprint didn't go well, but yeah, he was very open, and the car's body language, his body language around just hasn't seemed a little bit defeatist.
Norris chasing Antonelli, Piastri chasing Russell. One for Grand Prix victory, one for 5th place. Tells the tale of their weekends.
It runs, gearbox, I am struggling with the throttle.
Did he say gearbox?
Yeah. An animated tone, concern over the gearbox. The temperatures that we had earlier this weekend, way up Now let's see whether we're going to get a change of position. We're on board with Oscar Piastri, originally from Melbourne, racing in Miami and looking for 5th place right now. Lap car ahead gets out the way, and he'll try and do it to turn number 1. No way by right now.
Should get a good chance on the exit here, straightens that off, and he could feed the throttle in a little bit quicker than George, who still had more cornering to do. This is where Leclerc dived past as Russell started recharging. A bit more to offer, though, this time for George on the straight.
More energy for George Russell, slightly wide, though, into turn 1.
Yeah, in trying to carry that bit more speed to be defensive into 1. He didn't get an obvious lock-up, but he's just opened the steering, and he's going to be vulnerable.
Tucked in so close with the high speed, you're still losing downforce as you're sniffing the fumes of the car ahead coming through there. But he's able to stay. I mean, the cars do follow each other much more closely, don't they, this year with the new regs? And Piastri now will get a golden opportunity to make that back up.
See the active aero into the straight zone. 3 of them around this racetrack. And Piastri closing in. Huge speed, up to 200 miles per hour. No chance, though, to get by. Still George Russell ahead, as another driver was told about potential rain in the air. Still they tease it on the radio.
They are, but so far it hasn't come. And the sort of seesaw of lap time and how it's delivered continues between Antonelli and Norris. Antonelli firmly with an advantage in that first sector, and that's leaving it quite late in the lap for Norris to try and get into that 1 second window.
His car certainly seems to be okay. It was quite a panicked voice on the radio, wasn't it? Saying gearbox. I don't know if he said something about the paddle, or the upshift paddle.
Here's a chance for Piastri. Russell looking out of the car into the mirror. The Australian driver is there. He can hear the V6 turbocharged engine. 1 second for the race lead. 0.2 of a second for 5th place. Piastri's been working for this one. Can he get by? He gets to the inside. And Piastri, 3 laps it took him to get by, but he does so this time. And the McLaren man is up to 5th.
Yeah, he was squirrely through 18 and 19. Normally not really considered corners, but when you're running in the dirty air, then it certainly put him a little bit wider.
Kimi Antonelli sounded animated on the radio. It's not affected his pace too much last time around. He was quicker than Lando Norris.
Norris responds with the fastest first sector of the Grand Prix, though, and he's homing in once again. So, you know what it's like, you see, when you're thinking, I've got a golden opportunity, I'm championship leader, I've just conceived the checkered flag in my head now, but anything that feels off as Russell sends one back again on Piastri, makes it through at 11.
Deep into 11, but he gets there and he keeps the car the right side of the white line. It counts, and they're swapping positions once more. These 2 dual battles going on between McLaren and Mercedes. What can Lando Norris do? A really attacking lap from the world champion, who's got the gap down inside the magical second. He gets overtake mode, he has more power, he can recharge more, and as we go to the hairpin at 17, Piastri is back in front.
So can he hold it this time in towards turn 1? Antonelli's really slowing actually this time around. He was plenty slower on the last lap, and Norris is gaining and gaining even more as we head down towards the fast stuff, which leads on to the long straight in turn 11. So panic in Antonelli's voice. Problem with the paddles is what I believe he said. And maybe that is coming to fruition now, because suddenly Norris smells blood.
Lando Norris trying to charge through and win in the second stint to make that pass on track. His heart would have sunk when he saw that Mercedes had called the strategy right, but he's got the chance now. And Antonelli knows that he's outscoring his nearest rival for the title and teammate. But McLaren will take the encouragement of this weekend that it is a very long season all the way to the end, and they have updated their car to be contenders not only for the sprint race won by Norris yesterday, but also for Grand Prix victory. Piastri stays ahead of Russell, but they still don't have much margin between the 2 of them.
Yeah, it's the twin battles of McLarens and the Mercedes, and crucially, Antonelli is strong as he comes off 16, so it's all happening a bit late for Lando as he comes into the end of turn 17.
It's very quick in the first sector, though, so he's again just nibbled a little bit more out of Antonelli. It's 0.2 towards Norris on this lap, and this is where he suddenly brought the gap down. So is Antonelli harvesting as he come through turn 3, and it means that Norris suddenly gets big closing speeds in towards the high speed. Let's have a look if that is the same on this lap. Doesn't look like it is this time, so maybe that was a bit of a one-off there for Antonelli, who's been quick in terms of his driving. He's been really quick through the high speed so far this weekend.
Well, as they battle out front, and then Leclerc's taken half a second a lap, the last few laps out of Verstappen. So within the next 10 or so laps, he's going to be on the gearbox, battling for third place.
Kimi Antonelli having his championship credentials examined by the reigning world champion. He's trying to take his title. McLaren had a really tricky time of it in Melbourne. They were well off the pace trying to understand the new power unit. Both of these cars in your picture powered by Mercedes. One, the full works team. One, the reigning constructor champions. And the driver's champion is trying to take another win as well, getting that power down early.
My rears are gone, man. Like they're dropping quite a bit.
Again, it's just temp, Kimi, just temp.
Well, the calming voice of the engineer, the sports psychologist, just calming him down.
What do you do about that, though? It's just temp, don't worry about it. Well, you have to worry about it. The thing to do is try and be smooth, try and not break traction, try and kind of underdrive for a little bit and bring the temps down. The problem, that papaya car that's right in his mirrors, so you can't afford to ease off, and it gets worse before it gets better at this stage.
It's almost like, though, you can... There's enough of this Grand Prix left that even if he was to lose the race lead, if it suddenly brought it under control and then he found some performance again, he could come back at it. But of course, you don't want to give up the lead.
It doesn't sound like he does it, when he's coming on the radio? Certainly sounds frantic, and the McLaren gets closer and closer. This is as tight as it's been coming out of turn 8, which is your real crunch point. I agree, it could be a new lease of life. That's the good thing about this. And Verstappen's managing to find a little bit more pace as well, and third place looks like it's still a long shot, but possible as Norris closes in.
Norris trying to make the McLaren as large as possible in the mirrors of Antonelli. You can see this part of the circuit, the Mercedes moving around a lot. We go on board with the world champion, with the driver chasing down, hoping to become the first non-Mercedes driver to win a Grand Prix in 2026. A hugely updated McLaren. The first thing he said on the radio when he won yesterday was a thank you to the team for updating the car, and Lando Norris is the closest that he's been since he lost the position to Antonelli. He gets that overtake mode once again for more power, for more energy around this lap, and he'll be deploying it. Antonelli really under big pressure now.
The McLaren looks so good. It has done every time we've jumped on board with Norris through the race. It's direct on the entry, but he's not fighting the oversteer. He's not currently having the temperature issues. You can see him picking up that entry, whereas Antonelli's struggling to rotate the car, and it means that Norris can square off the corner and get on the gas a little bit sooner as well.
And tellingly, you can see in this high-speed section, he's just on a slightly shallower line. It just doesn't look as if the car is quite so loose.
You put less energy through the tyres as well when you do things more in a straight line, and you're not trying to hang on to it on the exits. Of course, when you are in this dirty air, you inherently will slide around a little bit more because you've got less downforce. But for now, I think Norris is still well in control of that McLaren in second.
Oliver Behrman is putting pressure on Alex Albon for the final point available. He's the Blue Williams ahead of the shot that we're riding on board with Ollie Behrman.
Is that some plastic that's been picked up on the rear wing? Maybe some debris, a tear off from a visor.
Looks like a tear off, doesn't it? That's there on the...
See if it detaches when they open the rear wing. No, it looks like it's well and truly caught there. That might be affecting a little bit the attachment of the airflow in the rear wing.
Well, Charles Leclerc has led this race, Max Verstappen has led this race, but it's come down to these two contenders, Lando Norris and Kimi Antonelli. The world champion against the world championship leader. Norris right there. One lockup, one wide moment, and it would be the race lead gone for Antonelli, who's trying to win 3 Grand Prix in a row, something that Oscar Piastri was able to do. And how reminiscent is this season to last? When all the talk was Lando at the start last year, it was Oscar Piastri who did the early winning. All the talk was of George Russell at the start of the campaign. Could it be 3 in a row for Antonelli? Here's the man trying to change it.
He's close once again through this section at the end of sector 1, picking a downshift through turn 4. Head bobbing as the airflow, and he rumbles over some curbs as well. Still with the look at the race lead, but he's just tantalisingly probably one car length further away to then have the big chance of deploying energy and having the overspeed. He's so close, but as yet, Antonelli is keeping it clean. And this is kind of uncharted territory as well, isn't it, for Kimi? Two-time Grand Prix winner. He won in China, but he had the pace in China and he was away and he had a big lock-up, but he kind of caught only himself out. There was no one there to put him under pressure. In Japan, he absolutely dropped the field after the safety car. He's not won a Grand Prix yet with a world champion on his tail, and it's a different kind of pressure.
Yeah, and also, as we know, he's obviously had some sort of concern over his gear change or the paddles on the back of the steering wheel, but he's been handling the pressure fantastically well. Bit of traffic that might just prove a little bit tricky for his exit.
Yeah, where you catch the car can be crucial, and Antonelli's felt that there, hasn't he? 0.8 of a second. It's going to come down as well. Norris is closing in. He will clear what looks to be the Aston Martin.
That's Alonso, and he should have got out of the way far easier than that, I think. That's Scarpa and Antonelli. You can see the gap is now half a second. Fernando was due to, he should have got out of the way. Antonelli was close enough on the way in, get off the racing line and allow the leaders through. And now, can Norris provide anything to force a defensive shape from Antonelli coming up?
It was the first time that Alonso was shown the blue flag. 3 times when it's waved at you, you have to jump out of the way. And Alonso jumped out of the way at the top 2. There's a second between the 2 of them now.
Am I reading that correctly, the graphic? Has Alonso not actually pitted?
Let's have a look from our tyre page. No, he's not yet visited the pits.
Okay, well, has he got something against his pit crew?
I think they're getting data on that medium tyre, but loads of it. Loads and loads of it. He's ahead of Perez, Stroll and Bottas. We have 4 retirements: Hülkenberg, Lawson, Gasly and Hadjar. Lawson and Gasly made contact at the hairpin. Hadjar clipped the apex wall, and it was a gearbox issue for Nico Hülkenberg when he retired his Audi.
Leclerc and Piastri both 1 second quicker than Verstappen on the last lap. So is this the sign of Max's hard tyres ailing, or has he got another chance to go again and try and nurse that Red Bull to what would be such a long-ranging one-stop? 51 laps he needs to do on that hard tyre, and he's still currently sitting there in 3rd position. But Leclerc's catching, Piastri's shaken off Russell and is catching as well.
Again, an advantage of a second. Again, Antonelli holds the lead. This would be a big test pass if he could beat the world champion to victory.
Update: Verstappen had done 34 laps on the hard, still doing 33.5 at the moment. We are forecast to catch him by the end of the race.
As Marcus Dudley, race engineer for George Russell, on the radio, imparting the news to his driver, to his charger. A winner of the opening round of the year in Melbourne, but it's been the Antonelli show since.
It's a bit of a stalemate, isn't it? Norris just feels that he's got a bit more pace in that McLaren, but Kimi Antonelli driving brilliantly out front. No mistakes, no opportunity for Norris to pounce. And all of those extra laps running in that slightly dirty air, Julian, that you talk about, that just takes away a little bit of balance. Car starts to slide a bit more, and crucially, he's been brilliant off 16, and wherever he's doing in his deployment there, to mean that we've had no chance for Lando to put pressure on the brakes down into 17.
Yeah, there was a big oversteer as we watched Piastri fighting the wheel as well through the low speed. It was a big oversteer for Norris that time around through the chicane as well. So maybe just starting to suffer slightly with the rear tyres overheating, and Antonelli builds that lead to over a second. Still not comfortable for him at all, but he's just quick where he needs to be, isn't he? That high-speed pace in this sector has just meant that he's never too vulnerable heading in towards turn 11. It's something he's had in his locker all weekend.
Ball sliding everywhere.
Hey,
well, that tells a story for George Russell. So often in this Grand Prix, we've seen Norris have a good lap, Antonelli respond. Norris have a good lap, Antonelli respond. 2 good laps in a row for Kimi Antonelli to break the advantage up to 1.3 seconds. Can he put another one together? He's trying to break away from the challenge of Lando Norris. The most pressure that Mercedes have been under in a Grand Prix all year long. Domination in the other 3 races. Oscar Piastri led laps It's the first time in Japan that McLaren had even run in the top 3 at any point of the season. Timing of the safety car was crucial there. But Antonelli, with the help of his Mercedes pit crew, getting the jump on Lando Norris. And Norris will try and regroup towards the end. Hope he's got some tyres to fight. Otherwise, it will be 3 Grand Prix victory in a row and an extended lead in the World Championship.
It starts to feel big as well, doesn't it? When you've got young driver, 19, winning races and absorbing pressure like this, which is just such an indication of the season that he's got coming up as well. Meanwhile, you've got on the other side of the garage, George Russell, 6th, losing out to Leclerc, losing out to Piastri, struggling for grip, with no real answers to the pace of Antonelli as well.
Leclerc should catch Verstappen in around 3 laps. That's when they start getting tasty ahead.
Gets slightly darker out of the window once again of our commentary box, but they've given up with the rain chat on the radio. It's remained dry, and Leclerc is closing in on Max Verstappen. That is a 2-second gap right now between Red Bull and Ferrari. It is a 1.5-second gap for the lead of the Grand Prix. Just going back through Kimi Antonelli's career. Last year, big pressure from Max Verstappen in Sao Paulo, hung on to it in a very, very tight race all the way to the line. Wasn't for the win, though. That's the last Grand Prix that Lando Norris won. He won twice in Formula 2, not chased home. So I reckon the last time that Kimi Antonelli was under this much pressure for a win was 2023, when he wasn't in Formula 3 because he was rushed through the junior ladder so far. That would be Formula Regional, the last time that Kimi Antonelli was made to sweat like this. And it has been hot and humid in Miami, but that's what happens if you believe in a driver and you elevate them immediately to a top team capable of Grand Prix victory. How he is seizing his chance in his 2nd season.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Absolutely. We've heard it from Toto Wolff for some time, saying that he's a work in progress. Well, it's the progress has been fast, and yeah, he's earned the right to be out front as Norris drops back now, takes the pressure off him.
It's 28 seconds between Antonelli and Russell. There's been a safety car for a good chunk of this as well. There's still 12 laps to go, so there has been quite a gulf between the two of them, and there will be in the championship. As things stand, it'll be almost a full race win, but Antonelli will go ahead with all the momentum. It's early days, but when you are in the championship, with the championship pressures, I guess you're way better positioned to answer this one, DC, but the feeling is different, the questions are different when you turn up to the next race.
100%, and I know this is just one race, the 4th race of the season, a long season, but the debrief, once all the celebrations is done, and this Grand Prix is not over, but once all the celebrations is done and you're sitting there with the engineers, George will be looking and going, how can he do that lap time? What have I got to change in my armory to challenge this guy? There will be circuits that I'm going to be better at, that's just the ebb and flow. But as you say, he's eked out a comfortable, if the race finishes as we're looking now, a comfortable gap, and that could be crucial.
As will the points that Russell didn't scoop up in Japan as well, where he didn't get on the podium in what was clearly the fastest car at that point. So needs to regroup.
Watch track limits, please. He's gone off at least twice now.
Lando Norris thinking of every option. Kimi Antonelli, after the checkered flag yesterday, went beyond the track limits warning, where he was shown a black and white flag for driving standards. Went beyond track limits again, got a 5-second penalty. And Norris saying, pay attention. That's a world champion's mentality, but it's also telling that Norris might feel that victory chances are slipping away here.
Well, he's dropped back, but has he got some more life in those tyres to go again? As we see the battle for 3rd finally coming to fruition. Leclerc tucked in behind Max Verstappen, who's still charging around with consistency on the hard tyres, but not enough pace. The one that I saw pop up was Norris before on track limits, but now he's radioed it in. One for Antonelli as well, so he's absolutely right. Turn 11 on the last lap, but I haven't seen too many of them, unlike the sprint yesterday.
4 for a penalty. 4 for a penalty. Remember, Antonelli was using a lot of the road, being reassured by Pete Bonington on the radio. It was just the tyre temperatures that were high, that he still had the grip from the Pirellis, not tearing through the actual compound like you get at other circuits.
We have a 2nd strike for track limits, so no more, Kimi, no more.
Easy. Easy as you like. Try and keep the world champion behind, keep it within the white lines. And he's built a gap at 2.1 seconds.
Well, it's absolutely fair enough, and he'll know it. He'll know this track, he'll know where the white lines lie and where the mistakes are being made, but just they haven't been obvious to us. We haven't seen him go beyond those track limits, as Charles Leclerc is going to get a chance if he chooses in the braking zone.
He's waiting, and he knows that he has the advantage of fresher tyres. He's had these hards on for 24 laps. Max Verstappen had these tyres on for 39, and Verstappen will do everything he can, but it's not enough in the end. They rolled the dice on the strategy. It gave him the race lead, but he's got nothing to fight with, and Charles Leclerc's eventful day is heading to the podium after that pass. He's a long way off Antonelli and Norris, and that's getting closer. Oh, that's brilliant around the outside. Do we think that Max Verstappen would give up? Maybe momentarily. He refused to yield. And no, I didn't get caught out. Quiet.
Well, look, it's, I think, delaying the inevitable. That underlying pace of the Ferrari is so strong. That's going to help Piastri as well, as here comes Leclerc.
This time he has the advantage, and Verstappen's going to be as late as possible on the brakes. The Ferrari driver gets through, even when he's got ancient tyres on the car. Max Verstappen finds a way to surprise us, and the Ferrari gets back. 1.7 seconds, 1.6 seconds. Grand Prix win still in the balance.
He's having fun this weekend, isn't he, Max? This is so much better for him than trying to hustle the back of Pierre Gasly's Alpine on the last laps in Japan. He's back fighting with the big guns. And that was a great move. It caught Charles Leclerc out as much as it caught you out, I think, there in towards turn 4. They both scooped it up just in the nick of time.
No denial.
That's the Joy Live TV. Kimi Antonelli talking about the downshifts, keeping an eye on the problem. So the team admit there is a problem with the car. Norris will try and leave some tyres in. Yellow flag is out. No one's static on our driver tracker right now. Yellow flag withdrawn. Oscar Piastri putting the big pressure on Max Verstappen.
That's the incentive I want to hear if I'm Lando. I want my engineer now to tell me Kimi's out there, he's got a few downshift problems, even if it's not costing him huge lap time. Give me some incentive to go and chase that Mercedes down. And it was half a second on the last lap.
So much curb being taken by Oscar Piastri out of turn 8.
Super impressive, isn't it? The different designs of rear wings. You know, it's like a gaping hole there when they have this new rear wing open up on the Red Bull. And you'll see very obvious difference to that of the McLaren.
So Norris brought a lot of pace on the last lap. Very even on this tour of the circuit. And you can see the difference in grip between old hard tyres and slightly fresher ones. Piastri climbing all over the back of the Red Bull now.
Russell's behind as well, and we'll get a shot, assuming Piastri's going to clear Verstappen at this time of asking, and I don't think Max has got anything left to fight. But there's George in the background, so that's the gap that the other Mercedes has got to make up.
Verstappen trying to hang it around the outside. Loved a late braking move so far this weekend, but Piastri takes P4, and the McLaren driver improves. He's, for reference, 2.1 seconds away from the final place on the podium.
Yeah, look, Max just is not in his nature to go, okay, I'm going to just accept the inevitable. He fights for every piece of tarmac. I think he's going to be too far back to do a surprise on Piastri like he did on Leclerc. But keep your eyes peeled, Alex, just in case.
Oh, you don't need to remind me.
Yeah, you can see the Red Bull just visibly wider on that long entry towards apex, a bit wider as well. Those tyres are just shot.
Yeah, I wondered if they might two-stop him when they realised Antonelli and Norris came out and blasted straight past. There is not a match. But I guess now it's just whether he can cling on to that fifth place ahead of Russell. Hamilton's having a difficult day and is 5 seconds back from Russell. That should be at least achievable for Verstappen. With the gap between Norris and Leclerc, I wonder what a two-stop might have looked like for Verstappen, charging, looking forwards once again, rather than just having this defensive drive on the old tyres.
Well, they tried something different after a very unusual moment where Verstappen spun at the start. Charles Leclerc nearly hit into the first corner, nearly hit into the second corner. It looks like he's going to take his place on the podium. Ferrari updating the car significantly. It would be a third podium of the season for Charles Leclerc. And they're just a step back behind a rejuvenated McLaren. They've chased Mercedes all the way home. Kimi Antonelli is keeping Norris on the end of the jab at the moment.
Yeah, keeping Mercedes absolutely honest. And looking at Russell's performance actually relative to Antonelli, it makes you think how much of this it's just the Antonelli difference. You know, we talk often about Max making the difference over the performance of the car. Are we witnessing Antonelli's brilliance actually give Mercedes a potential victory? 7 laps will decide, out of what actually was McLaren's circuit.
Well, when there's 33 seconds now between the two of them, this is certainly a showcase for Antonelli's talent this weekend. Montreal's always been a good circuit for Mercedes. It's been a great circuit for Russell. He won there last year, and it will be a good opportunity for him to kind of stop the rot now and turn it around and get some momentum back into his season. But Antonelli will be turning up there at this rate, brimming with confidence and having a healthy cushion. Russell, I feel like Russell needs to clear Verstappen, just get another couple of points and take something more out of this weekend. He's closing.
Fernando Alonso is having some fun for the first time this season. He's got soft tyres on the car, went super long on the medium. He's had soft tyres on for a couple of laps. And Antonelli's got the gap up to 2 seconds. Saw a lock-up for Antonelli at the hairpin in China late on. Whilst he has unbelievable talent, he will be counting off the laps, and it will be a significant moment. We always look for narratives in the commentary box, but the championship leader beating the world champion in a straight fight certainly feels like another feather in Antonelli's cap, and he'll extend his advantage over George Russell. And there have been mitigating circumstances for George Russell. Earlier in the season in China, he had an issue in qualifying, didn't have a clean run there. Timing of the safety car, he was really in the battle for the win before the timing of the safety car. This has been pure performance for Kimi Antonelli.
Russell radioing in feedback that it feels better, presumably so the team can see something on the data and maybe find a tyre temperature window or something that the car's sort of come back to life for him, just for learning in the next events. Yeah, and Kimi got out the car yesterday. It was a half-an-hour sprint, and he looked like he'd done a Grand Prix. He looked so, you know, visibly. It was a sweaty day. He looked tired, didn't he?
Yeah. No, I think we're all a bit nervous that would be sort of conditions they would do the Grand Prix in, but you know, track temperatures full 14 degrees lower, clearly overcast here, so more comfortable conditions.
And it's about keeping that concentration then. And it was the track limits yesterday at the end, where it was a sloppy thing. It cost him 2 points. It gave George 1 point, if that is going to be the title battle this year. And it was a bit needless. The concentration has got to be razor sharp now. Even though he's got the pace, he's got 2 seconds still to Norris behind. He's got to put a lap on another car. That's Bortoletto.
From the next lap, there is a chance of light drops.
Confirm or deny, DC?
Yeah, I'm just going to bear with me while I fire up my I haven't paid for app. On the basis it was free.
We might have to fire that into the bin, to be honest, by the end of this broadcast.
There is no rain coming, gentlemen. So what I was about to say, though, before the engineer updated from the pit wall, the body language of the cars is great. They look quick. I think that we've had this little break. We've come back. This has been, for me, an overwhelmingly positive display from Formula One.
It's been a lot of fun, hasn't it? The drivers are enjoying it a lot more. You can see Norris there with a little bit of squirm on the rear end as he's getting on the gas. He's still getting a massive kick up the back as a driver. The torque delivery is huge, but the energy is being harvested a little bit more easier. The tweaks to the reg seem to have worked. The competitive order has shuffled around like we were promised it would, with upgrades coming on so many cars. And it's been a lot of fun to watch, and we're 5 laps away from the end, and we've still got a McLaren chasing a Mercedes. It's not the Noah's Ark 2x2 that it was so often with a bigger field spread. It's tightened up the whole way through, and it's been a really, really fascinating weekend.
Yeah, it's been a great event, and thankfully the rain has held off. We've got Verstappen full second slower than Russell on the last lap, so within the next couple of laps Russell's going to be in that battle. And like you were saying, Julian, he desperately needs to sort of damage limitation and the overall points haul to his teammate.
Well, it's about finding that performance. Kimi Antonelli was not too far away from George Russell last year. It was Antonelli's first ever Grand Prix podium. There will be a lot at stake when we go to Montreal, the Canadian Grand Prix. Here's Alonso versus Perez on the left-hand side of your picture. And Alonso, is he leaving room? Could he slow it down? He's by, and he gets through to 50.
Well, that is encouraging for Aston Martin. They're in the race, battling with Cadillac, who has to credit where it's due. They've done a really solid job bringing an entirely new team to Grand Prix racing and a major regulation change.
At least they can race together as well. 40 seconds away from those ahead, but it's encouraging steps for both of those teams. Guys, I do have a correspondent. South Beach, Miami, says it's absolutely hammering it down there and it's heading this way. 4 laps to go.
What is that as a crow flies? Probably about, what, 15 kilometres away?
I think so. I think so. It could yet spice up the end of the Grand Prix. Palmer has contacts everywhere. You know this.
Well, for our audience who've never been to Miami before, South Beach is party central, and it sounds very much that Julian's got a hot date with a cold drink down South Beach after the Grand Prix.
It's been a very entertaining weekend here in Miami. Kimi Antonelli continues to keep Norris at bay. Piastri has got that gap down from 2 seconds to 1.3. So the final step on the podium is still up for grabs, and any lockup. There are, in the opening corners, a lot of runoff area. Other corners like 14 and 15, as Isaac Hadjar found, not much room for error. Norris has the fastest lap, but he does not have the chance anywhere near he'd want. 2.3 seconds away, but climbing up to 4th in the drivers' standings. And McLaren in a much better place and a long way to go in the World Championship. For Kimi Antonelli, one of the things he would have been worrying about is coming across lap traffic ahead, who were battling. He's gone through Bortoleto and Ocon, who are having a scrap for 12th position. That battle has elongated. Norris has gone through as well. It is single cars that he's trying to get by. And here is Max Verstappen and George Russell. Verstappen having a much more encouraging Grand Prix weekend. That front row especially will give Red Bull hope that they can fight later into the campaign. Russell just trying to get extra points for his championship tally.
Yeah, well, he's going to be ideally placed out of 16. We've seen Mercedes has been particularly strong there, a much shallower line as he drives the power on that long back straight. So he pulls a rip-off from his visor as well. Will he be brave on the brakes, or will he wait for the run down to turn 1? Well, unsurprisingly, Max gives him the, well, not on my watch into that corner.
Russell tries to come back. The left-hand side of your picture, 3rd place in the Miami Grand Prix, going all the way to the end. Piastri really attacking. Not as much as Russell, though. It will be late on the brakes of Verstappen, and he still hangs on to it on those old hard tyres.
You've got 2 laps to pass someone. That's someone you do not want to be Max Verstappen, because even on old tyres, derating into the corner, he is happy to fire it back down the inside. He'll catch everyone out.
Yeah, damage on the front wing end plate of Russell. You can see it sparking there. Did he just clip the rear of Verstappen? And in terms of, yeah, look, you can see there's he's had some contact in that front wing end plate.
Yeah, it's hanging low.
I think he hit my tyre.
I think he did.
That's scraping along the floor. Won't cause a huge amount of trouble.
Does it become detached, though, would be the worry for George.
On board with Piastri, trying to take a place on the podium, left-hand side of your picture. The battle for 5th position with Russell with that damage to the front wing.
Yeah, Russell will be okay with that because he's so close to the end of the race. I don't think they'll have time to call him in to change it. One more lap after this, and here's the podium fight.
Hanging on to it, look tactical from Piastri. Wants to use everything. Going across the line. And the McLaren's chasing the Ferrari all the way to the end on the penultimate tour of the race.
Russell dives down the inside and clears Verstappen. Piastri too far back into turn 1.
No, he doesn't clear him because Verstappen comes back.
Verstappen fights back, he's still P5.
I thought it was too easy when he slid down the inside.
Yeah.
We'll put a big sign on the combox wall that says Verstappen's going to lunge again into the next corner. Late on the brakes once more and hanging on to 5th place, Max Verstappen, who is looking for what would be his best Grand Prix result of the year.
Yeah, and also shout out to Colapinto, only 11 seconds behind Hamilton, having his best
we
race.
see a problem with the rear wing dropping out. So just be careful of it everywhere.
Dropping out, that could mean a number of different things.
Could
Julian,
it be
you're going to
related-
explain to us what they are.
The active aero potentially, that moving element in 3 zones of the racetrack. Charles Leclerc using a lot of the racetrack right now, trying to keep Oscar Piastri behind.
Yeah, it sounds like he's just losing rear load, and if you commit to a corner as if you've got it fully there and it's not there, you're going to be pointing backwards into a barrier pretty soon. So battles everywhere. Norris has got 24 seconds to cruise home for a 2nd place. Who will join him in 3rd? Because this is one of the final chances that Piastri will get. This and one more lap.
Will Piastri go for it? They are still on the penultimate lap. The top 2 find themselves on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Piastri gets by. Is there any energy for the Ferrari to use? That was an attacking stint for Piastri. Russell versus Verstappen, the left-hand side of your picture as they go to the hairpin at turn 17. Does the Red Bull reappear? Not this time. It's 5th place for George Russell. It's 3rd place for Oscar Piastri. And it's Kimi Antonelli heading to turn 11. Oh, Charles Leclerc spins at the end. Does he keep it out of the barriers? He does. What a dramatic day he has had. A spin on the opening lap, a spin on the final lap, and both times the drivers kept it out of the wall.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic, but he's running wide. There's a big issue with the car. What is it?
And he's losing positions all the time. He's trying to take it back all the way to the end. A Grand Prix with action all the way through.
Wonder if he's got a puncture or something. Charles Leclerc, he was already fighting the car as Piastri came back through.
Charles Leclerc is heading to turn 10. He's got Russell and Verstappen not too far away from him. But for Kimi Antonelli, another dream day. If you want the crown, you have to beat the champion. The test is passed, and it's 3 Grand Prix victories in a row for Kimi Antonelli. Kimi Antonelli wins the Miami Grand Prix. Lando Norris with a strong 2nd place. Oscar Piastri will put 2 McLarens on the podium, and can George Russell get up to the back in time to pass Charles Leclerc, who's limping home, and I don't think he's going to be able to get there in 4th position, because we're on board with Russell and he's got the Ferrari ahead. Here's the 3rd place man. It's Piastri over the line in 3rd, but who will be 4th? Russell closing in. He gets by at the final corner.
Contact.
Very close to contact. Russell tries to get the power down. He gets past. He goes through, and George Russell takes 4th place with a damaged front wing. Can the Ferrari get there, or will it be Verstappen? Verstappen takes 5th on the line, and Charles Leclerc goes from the podium to 6th place. Hamilton will be in 7th. Colapinto will be in 8th, and it will be points for the Williams pair of Sainz and Albon. They're all behind this man.
Get in there, Kimi. Had to work for that one today, mate. But what a great drive.
Yes! Woo! Man, what a race! What a race, man! Woo! Oh my God!
Very exciting.
Well, I think Antonelli earned his stripes, and there's his father there. The pride he must feel, the adrenaline he must feel. But what a performance. And I think, well, Formula One was also the winner today. That was a great Grand Prix.
What a race. 2 hobbled cars trying to fight it through. Russell with his front wing dangling. Leclerc, so this is the spin. Yeah. Oh, it does nibble the wall as well. So has he spun on his own, and then he's damaged the car with a tap on the wall. A little bit of suspension damage on that front left, struggling to rotate the car then.
And this was on the back straight on the last lap. George Russell trying to measure what he was up against. We wondered if it was a puncher. Russell deep on the brakes. Leclerc never going to give that up. More contact, front right to left rear. And Russell able to get by. And then watch Max Verstappen here. And he's going to sweep by and take it on the line. And that is how they resolve the story of 4th, 5th and 6th.
Yeah, he's damaged the front left, so he can't turn right.
Yeah, well done. How did we not win this? We should have won, guys. Good try, good effort. Nice to see the progress. Yeah, well done. Let's keep pushing, guys. We can get back to winning. We can make it easier for ourselves. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's good. He's not satisfied. I think they know that maybe a slightly missed opportunity in some ways, but great result for Alpine, Colapinto in 8th, and then the 2 Williams cars. Who would have predicted that?
Yes, Oscar, well done. That is a really well-deserved podium. P3, amazing.
Yeah, that was down to the wire. Well done, everybody. Yeah, good race.
Well, a Grand Prix with action at the start, action at the end, and a Kimi Antonelli victory, a hat-trick of victories in a row to open your account in Grand Prix racing. Absolutely outstanding from the young Italian championship leader who has extended his run. It's Antonelli ahead of Norris, Piastri, Russell, Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton, Colapinto, Sainz, and Alex Albon. Here comes the winner. Kimi Antonelli regrouped after a difficult sprint where there was a late mistake, and you can tell how much he has poured into that one. But crucially, he kept the world champion at bay, and he beat Lando Norris to the flag by 3.6 seconds. All of that hard work rewarded with a trip to the top of the car as the winner. And the mechanics are going to get their young charger bundled into them. Made to sweat for it, but held firm. A real team victory. And the embrace of father and son. The championship leader by even more after that win.
You know the thing, Mercedes haven't forgot how to win, have they? This should have been Norris's win. It was a strategy moment. It was a great drive from Antonelli, don't get me wrong, he absorbed the pressure, but he got the place in the pits where McLaren were left just looking around. Mercedes took the initiative and they took the win. It was the same in recent years. They've not been fighting for a title, but when they have a chance to win races, they deliver race wins. And I can understand Norris's frustration here, because from the cockpit, he has half and puffed at getting the lead back. He's been so close, fighting really hard. Antonelli's not put a foot wrong, but he's thinking, I should not have to do this already. I've cleared him once in this race.
Yeah, the same power units as well. Norris feeling that that one got away. Drivers have given it everything. The winner in the background, hugging every mechanic he can find. And the McLarens updated sprint race winners, 2 cars on the podium. Piastri with a really strong end to the Grand Prix as well there to climb on to the podium. And he will be celebrating a 28th career podium. Kimi Antonelli has only been on the rostrum on 7 occasions, including today, 3 of them as the winner. His form at the end of the year carried over, and he is the leading contender for the title. 9th and 10th for Sainz and Albon, and they were 9 seconds clear of Oliver Behrman. So a big turnaround for a team that were downright horrified at the car being overweight and where they found themselves at the start of the campaign.
That's a really good performance from Williams. Both drivers in the points, knuckling down. They've got a long way to go. I don't think they're going to be too satisfied with 9th and 10th, those two, but good drives from them both. And Williams at least on the right path, and Albon back in the points.
Franco Colapinto equals his career best in the Grand Prix format with that 8th place. It caps a strong weekend for him. Lewis Hamilton in 7th, Charles Leclerc in 6th place. Ferrari's had flashes of speed across the course of the weekend. Max Verstappen with the audacious tyre strategy, 51 laps on the hard tyre by the end of the Grand Prix. And Russell with a couple of positions gained at the end there, that when the World Championship went down to 2 points by the end of the last lap of the last race last year, could well be crucial. Piastri will be pleased to make the podium. Norris will be disappointed to miss the win. And Antonelli will be the happiest man in Miami. 3 Grand Prix victories in a row to build a huge lead at this stage, but equally, we've seen so many different teams involved this weekend out front. And Kimi Antonelli has poured his heart and soul into that moment. And with his family in attendance, what a treasured memory that will be. Let's go downstairs to hear from the top three now. Jenson Button is speaking to our top three: Antonelli, Norris and Piastri.
Welcome to Miami, Kimi. I mean, that was a masterclass. They didn't make it easy for you. There was a lot of great fighting out there, and especially with turn one. But you came through at the end with a really strong victory and a great last stint.
Yeah, I mean, start was not as bad as yesterday. It was a little bit better. I didn't expect Charles to break that early, so to avoid him, obviously I lock up, and then I was a bit lucky with how, with what happened then in turn two. And then I did a little mistake with the energy management, trying to overtake Charles, and then I lost the place to Lando, but then the pace was strong. I was able to stay close, and then the team did a great strategy. We did a massive undercut, and then we managed to bring it home, even though it was not easy.
I know you're thinking about this moment in time, but today you made history. The first driver to win his first 3 Grand Prix from pole position, and you're only 19. I mean, it's so impressive.
No, thank you. I mean, this is just the beginning. The road is still long, but we're working super hard, and the team is doing an incredible job, and without them I wouldn't be here, so mainly thanks to them, to my family, and I'm gonna enjoy this one and then get back to work because Canada is in 2 weeks' time.
Well, congratulations, and take a nice rest.
Thank you.
Before the next one. Cheers, Kimi.
Thank you so much.
Lando, the first stint looked amazing. Great fighting out there with Charles and Kimi, and it looked really good on the medium tire. And then on the hard, the pace didn't seem quite as good, and maybe the pit stop was quite an important one.
I mean, a mixed bag, really. We just got undercut. It's no excuses other than that. We got undercut. We should have boxed first. Kimi did a good job. Hats off to Merck and Kimi. They drove a good race. Easy to make mistakes out there with the big braking zones and with these cars, but he didn't make any big enough for me to capitalize on. So I have to be happy. I think as a team, we have to be happy. I'm gutted to miss out on a win. Here in Miami, I think it was possible today, but not the pace to get back past him in the end, so we take it on the chin, but still a positive weekend altogether.
Good, yeah, the racing out there looked great from the outside. How was it racing wheel to wheel out there? Do you feel a good improvement from yourselves, but also from Formula One as a whole?
It was still good. I still enjoyed the racing, honestly. Things have improved, some things are the same. But today was still about who could make the least mistakes, who could push in the correct areas. And it looked good, I guess. If you guys enjoyed it, then I'm very happy, So it was tough. You still have to be, you have to be tactical with how you use the battery. You can easily just get caught up in the wrong kind of running of things and get caught out badly. But other than that, I feel like I did a good job and the team did a good job all weekend. So I have to be proud of everyone.
Progress. Good man.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Oscar, we didn't really see that much of you on the screens initially, but a great fight through in the end. It looked like, after Suzuka, where you were so strong at the start of the race, it's been a bit of a trickier weekend, especially qualifying. But you came through the end and picked up a great podium there.
Yeah, definitely. It's not been the most straightforward of weekends. I think, qualifying yesterday was a bit messy for both of us, but the pace seemed more encouraging again today, and had to make a few overtakes. Obviously, the end of the race was a pretty late charge, but just very, very tricky around here, especially in these conditions. So thanks to the team. Clearly we were a step closer in performance once again. So it's nice to see.
It must be promising to see, obviously, Lando doing a good job this weekend and seeing yourselves get so much closer to the Mercedes. Obviously, with sprint race, you were in front of them. So you must have a positive attitude moving forward to Canada.
Yeah, definitely. I think this weekend we showed that if we get track position, we can hang on to things well. We were close in Japan, but we've definitely taken a step forward, and hopefully in Canada we can take another step forward again. So, excited for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thought we were going to hear a little bit more from our championship leader and race winner, but he has done all of his talking on the racetrack and he's ready to start the party in a city known for them. It's all celebrations for Kimi Antonelli, who's about to receive the trophy. One for the Antonelli family collection. There's his race engineer, Pete Bonington, on the left. Antonelli taking the moment to thank everyone who contributed. Lovely moment for the family. Lovely, lovely moment. So much gets poured in before we know these drivers' names, and he's 19 years of age. But the Antonellis, they've been orbiting Kimi and his chance to become a champion. Maybe they dared not dream that it would come this early. He is the driver to beat in Formula One at the moment, and he's being hurried to the podium. Winner of the Grand Prix by 3.2 seconds, Oscar Piastri. In third, George Russell gaining place past Verstappen, then a place past Leclerc at the end. Verstappen beat Leclerc to the line by 2/10. And then it was Hamilton in 7th, Colapinto equaling his career best with 8th position and his 2nd point score of the season. And then Carlos Sainz in 9th and 10th for Alex Albon for his first points in Formula One since the Italian Grand Prix, when he actually went ahead of Kimi Antonelli in the standings. And he's put that right today. Well done to Alex Albon. Haas finding themselves 10 seconds back behind Williams, so a really cheering moment for the Grove-based team in the UK. But what a moment for the crowd here. This is a nice one to see their heroes out of the car with the hands device removed, with the crash helmet off, with the balaclava off, and they're getting a rapturous reception. They deserve it because it has been a weekend of humid temperatures, but pass and repass again. An overtaking fest in Miami. And this was Verstappen, Russell, contact. And the collision has been noted by race control. Only noted at this stage. And that was Russell getting back through. You know what you're getting when you're racing Max Verstappen, and he's done at that stage about 50 laps on the hard tyre. Take 2, we go again. Russell able to get by, this time decisively. And then the spin on the final lap. Charles Leclerc tapping the wall as he saw the chance of third disappear. Very tight between the pair into the final corner of braking. The Miami Grand Prix, Russell up to 4th, and then with the damaged car, Verstappen didn't know which way to go, but finished in 5th after an audacious strategy and one that nets him good points. And as we relive those moments at the end, a huge crowd has made their way down in front of the podium. On the other side of the Hard Rock Stadium, where the paddock is based this weekend, and Kimi Antonelli getting used to acknowledging the cheers of the crowd. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris will join him on the podium. For Lando Norris, his best result of the year, but the win was there, he felt. And Antonelli taking the adulation. Jubilation for Mercedes, and so many fans in front of the podium ready to see the celebrations. You've got to give yourself a wave if you're on the big screen. What an overtaking fest we've seen today. And we are sending our top 3 to the cool-down room. And in a few moments, when we've got all 3 of them, we will listen to their debrief on some of the key moments. And there are plenty of highlights that could be played on that screen. Kimi Antonelli ready to join the cool-down room. Let's listen in to what our top three are saying.
Few seconds.
Almost one.
Yeah, 1.8.
Where were you when you came out of the pits? Like, did you brake? Because I couldn't see you.
We were like this. I almost crashed into you.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mate, you see Gasly flipped?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, I was so close.
Quindi tranquillo,
Mate, Gasly flipped in the last corner.
Yeah.
So, I saw you.
Well, I saw it was stuck.
Yeah, I was like wondering how did it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad damage.
Yeah. Yeah, see, watch this. I overtake him. I'm like, sweet.
He came back past you?
Yeah. But I nothing I could do. Like,
I think what Max was doing. He just ruined his own race.
oh.
Oh my god.
This is at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, so you finished fifth?
Sweet. Man, trying to defend in these cars
So hard to anticipate.
Yeah.
like, you look and they're like half a second behind, but catching you so fast.
At the end, the wet.
Here's the moment that he sealed the win.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. It's good to be back like this. Let's keep pushing.
Kimi, that was really impressive. Very impressive, dominant from the beginning to the end. Not to get under control the starts, but your driving, that was really, really good. And you know I like to complain, but there's nothing to complain today.
Yeah, I know. I was a bit stressed.
Very, very good.
Congratulations from the boss to the new driver to beat in Formula One, Kimi Antonelli, championship leader. McLaren underneath the podium with both of their drivers about to appear any moment now. And for the Franco Colapinto fans, lots to cheer about. Points for their driver. Here's the standings, 100 points for Kimi Antonelli, George Russell on 80, Charles Leclerc 63, Lando Norris moves up to 4th, he's on 51. It's Lewis Hamilton ahead of Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen in 7th, and then Behrman, Gasly and Lawson, the top 10. And from the celebrations in Parc Fermé to underneath the podium on the other side of the stadium, a short walk. And McLaren standing by. Lando Norris about to celebrate career podium 45. He was dreaming of win number 12. So first up, it will be Oscar Piastri, ever popular with the crowd. And a great attacking stint at the end for a 28th career podium. The world champion thought he had a chance to win his first Grand Prix with that title to his name. But McLaren hugely improved and looking like contenders once more. The teenage dream continues for Kimi Antonelli, put under enormous pressure, and the driver he is trying to succeed, test passed. His reward, his national anthem on the top step. Kimi Antonelli is getting used to celebrating moments like this. He hoists the victory trophy aloft once more and joins Damon Hill and Mika Hakkinen as the only drivers in championship history to win their first 3 Grand Prix consecutively. Both went on to become world champions. And for Mercedes, a real moment of pride. McLaren could have stolen the trophy away. It's a team win to savour, and one they celebrate from the top step. Lando Norris led his first laps in a Grand Prix this season today. Wanted the largest trophy, but it's another podium to cherish in Miami for the world champion. And Oscar Piastri fighting through, attacking all the way to the end, and scoring back-to-back podiums with a second in Japan and a third in Miami. But for Kimi Antonelli, the breakthrough win, the breakthrough poles, and then suddenly it becomes also routine. But there's nothing routine about being 19 years of age and winning 3 Grand Prix in a row to open your account in Formula One. Immediately, his thoughts turned to the Canadian Grand Prix, and we'll be visiting Montreal in 2 weeks' time, a venue where his teammate won 1 year ago, and he will be dreaming of 4 in a row. For the moment, another Sunday to savour for the championship leader. It's a fairly new event, this one. It's brought so many through the gates, a sellout today. But Mercedes' first win at the Miami Grand Prix. Antonelli rightly taking the moment to soak it all in. And it's getting ever more impressive for the youngster. 28 starts in Formula One, and now 3 Grand Prix victories. Mercedes call to elevate him through the ranks to get that year of experience before the regulation change. 4 Grand Prix rounds in. Looking very, very good management indeed. We've got a long way to go. Ferrari showed real flashes of speed. Max Verstappen was back on a Formula One front row. McLaren seem instantly rejuvenated. From not starting Grand Prix in China with both cars to being disappointed that they didn't take the win. There are multiple drivers, there are multiple teams involved, but overall, it is still Kimi Antonelli, the driver to beat. We are so well poised to continue the season. But this is how the 4th Grand Prix of the year finished. Kimi Antonelli taking the win, Mercedes' first triumph here in Miami. McLaren placing both drivers on the podium. Norris 3.2 seconds away. Piastri had to fight back after getting shuffled in the middle of the pack. Piastri in 3rd. Russell in 4th with that pass at the end. Verstappen in 5th with that long, audacious strategy. And it was a spin on the last lap for Charles Leclerc in P6. Hamilton was 7th. Colapinto equals his personal best in Formula One with 8th place, and the points were rounded out by the Williams pair of Sainz and Albon. Oliver Behrman was in 11th, Gabriel Bortoleto in 12th place. Then it was Ocon and Lindblad. Alonso was able to pass Perez on soft tyres. Then it was Stroll and Bottas. 4 retirements from the Grand Prix. Hulkenberg with a gearbox issue. Liam Lawson made contact with Pierre Gasly, and Isaac Hadjar hit the wall at turn 14 and then turn 50. Antonelli hits 100 points in 2026, 20 ahead of George Russell. 25 are awarded for Grand Prix victory. For reference, Charles Leclerc is in third on 63, then it's Norris, Hamilton, Piastri and Verstappen. The top 10 completed by Behrman, Gasly and Liam Lawson. Franco Colapinto climbs to 11th, then it's Lindblad ahead of Hadjar. Sainz is ahead of Bortoletto thanks to his points today. Ocon in 16th, Alex Albon back on the board for the first time since September 2025. The others yet to score in Formula One 2026, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Perez, Alonso and Stroll. In the Constructors' Championship, out front, Mercedes continue to lead the way. Ferrari are in second, but McLaren having a real weekend of confidence with their third place and a massive gap down to Red Bull in fourth. Alpine now in P5, Haas in seventh, and it's Racing Bulls, Williams, Audi, Cadillac and Aston Martin, the last two chasing points this season. Well, my thanks to David Coulthard and to Jolyon Palmer for their insights across this weekend. Kimi Antonelli has won 3 Grand Prix in a row. He is the driver to beat in Formula One. Thanks for your company. We will see you when Formula One returns. Goodbye.